Masturbation is very important. As usual, I'm just going to be kind of, well, I actually just recently woke up, which is why I'm late. So, brain is completely gone right now. And aside from that, giving it a few minutes for people to show up always takes time for that. I think maybe in the future I'm going to, a little odd, I'm going to like start without putting myself up immediately and just have the screen that's like, I don't know, like getting things going. Run that for like 10, 15 minutes and then pop up. Maybe. In fact, I might make like a basic Photoshop deal and make like a sort of banner thing that I put up that explains like really basic shit about the live stream and just have that up until everything gets going. Because it does seem that I have to repeat certain things repeatedly because we don't just have the same people. Every once in a while, someone new comes up. So it could be useful. And I need some vitamin N. This is my latest experiment. It's spearmint oil. It's very nice. Not my favorite though. My favorite's fruity shit because I'm gay. Won't be much use today. Why is that? Got high. Similar shit for business channel. Yeah. I don't really do much in terms of like professional organization and stuff because that's not what I'm for. This is just fun. But I do try to make things better, at least without having to do too much damn work. If you were referring to me setting up my pipe, that's just tobacco. I flavor tobacco with certain essential oils. The spinning wheel of waiting since last night after that chat with Max. I'm not sure what that's all about. No, it's tobacco. There's various, like, tons of different types of tobacco. I use I buy all sorts of like exotic tobacco shit, and I use like cheaper tobacco, which is this, for flavoring. And I buy these sort of things, which are essential oils, and flavor with sugar and use a like little spritzer deal to spray the tobacco and let it kind of cure for like a day. Makes things a little interesting. Hmm. Does seem like you'd have to cover all that sort of thing for a business type deal. Pain in the ass. Probably hear my cat. He thinks I'm talking to him, which is common. And he's always trying to trick me into thinking that it's time to feed him when it's not. Just watched a video recently of Democrats trying to get into the Department of Education building, and one dude was like told to block the door. Pretty sure that's illegal. It's just like a random like security guard. They even had the Department of Homeland Security inside the building with guns and shit, and they're like just walking around. I don't know what the hell. It's crazy. Although I'm not 100% sure on legality, but it doesn't seem like that can be legal. How can you like fucking shut out Congress? Hell, I might even play it if someone don't come up. Not the whole thing because it's sort of like redundant, but it's interesting. If he's just talking about that evidence that Jesus existed, period, without claims of him being the Son of God, then I would have to agree. Um, Most historians do agree that there was a Jesus. Some have differences of opinion. I mean, there are a few, but it's not common. There are a few historians that claim that there was never a Jesus, period. But personally, I believe that there was, that he was just a human and he never even claimed to be the Son of God. So those are two different claims. Like, one, whether or not he was anything supernatural, and two, whether or not Jesus existed, period. Yeah, that's very fucked. Yeah, an unelected fucking billionaire who takes tons of fucking corporate welfare from the government while talking shit about people who take welfare who actually need it. In my experience, that is true. Like hardcore. Well, if he did, then I mean, I'm sure he believes it, but then I don't disagree. I think that I don't know if I would call it a fact, but the evidence does push toward there having been a Jesus that we think is linked to Jesus that was mentioned in reference to the Bible. Yeah, so I mean, it's a separate claim. Now, I'm pretty sure JT does believe that Jesus was the Son of God, but it's an entirely different claim. And if he didn't mention it, then I personally don't have any, I mean, issue with it. No, that is true. Like, absolutely. But it depends on the claim that he's making at the time. I wasn't there, so I don't know exactly what you're talking about. This is all like he said, she said for me. Yes. And personally, I think he did. I mean, I don't personally, and again, this is just my opinion, I don't think there's any evidence for any, well, this isn't an opinion, there isn't any evidence for any supernatural type thing other than maybe certain eyewitness accounts, and we can get into why that's problematic. That's a fair point. You believe that he was a prophet, right? Like other prophets or something like that? And that his message got confused or something? I don't get the Muslim perspective very well. Well, if that's all you said, then I completely agree. I wasn't there though. I don't know. Why don't you guys come out and come up and talk about it? Yeah, that's again, I wasn't there, but that's kind of, even if he does believe that, which he says he does, is if that's not the claim, then that's not exactly what his premises were trying to push. Like it's an entirely separate argument, or at least to me, it should be. I mean, to be fair, there's no requirement that he believe that Jesus existed at all. There are many atheists who don't believe that. I'm just not one of them. had an appointment with my fucking nut doctor the other day. It was an interesting conversation. Well, to be fair, what I think isn't really relevant. What matters is the evidence. Like, I'm not an authority, really. I'm just a dude on the internet. Like, but it is true. I don't believe that there was a son of God, Jesus. I don't believe he was anything more than a man. But that's just my view. And really, it's very there isn't like direct proof either way.
Hey,
Hello,
what's going on,
JT.
Trump? How's it going, man?
Not bad. Sort of half asleep, but can't complain.
Yeah, I know the feeling. No, I just wanted to clear up for Odyssey here that basically and I think you agree. I think you just said that you agree that the guy that they're talking about in the Bible, that they're calling Jesus. I think most historians agree that guy existed. Now, I'm not talking about any claims made about him, supernatural or otherwise. I'm just saying that most historians agree that guy existed. That's all I said.
Yeah, if that's all the claim is, then I have no disagreement.
Right. I'm not even saying he has to agree with that. I'm just saying most historians and scholars agree.
Absolutely, that's the
that
point
guy
I just
existed.
made.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
that's a factual claim. That's factually true what you just said. There was no opinion in there that
Right. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I wasn't giving my opinion on the matter. I mean, yeah. He knows I'm Christian and he's conflating the two things, but that's not what I argue.
Right. And to be fair, there are historians, although they're the minority, that think that even Jesus the man didn't exist. And some people I've heard, what's his name from chat? Can't remember his name. Leper Abbott. He thinks that there's evidence to show that the Romans created him, invented him. I don't think it's very compelling evidence, but again, this is the point I'm making is it's not, there's a difference between evidence and proof. There isn't direct proof like absolute, like you can't deny, blah, 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 but there is evidence to support the belief, the likelihood, I guess you would call it, that Jesus existed.
Right. Yeah. And that's all I was saying. Yeah, I wasn't,
Then yeah, I see nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to be clear because I didn't mention anything supernatural. I didn't say the title Son of God. I just said a guy named Jesus that they're referring to in the Bible. But that's all. That's all I said.
Right. So
does he ever come up on panel?
I don't know. He can, but he's claiming that that's not what you did. That you actually made.
I have no reason to lie about it. Truth. Why would I? I mean, I'm not saying you know me very well, but I think you know me enough to know.
I haven't myself ever saw you like make claims that were just complete bullshit, or to do something and then go, that's not what I did. Generally, if you do something, even if people have problems with it, like for example, on your channel, whenever you quote dox people, a lot of people get a little pissy about it. You own it. You go, yeah, I dox people, and you don't hide from shit that you claim. In my experience, that doesn't mean that
right, doesn't mean I couldn't, but
it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, but in my personal experience, I've never seen it.
Okay, well, I appreciate that.
Not a problem.
No, and I usually differentiate between my personal beliefs and something that I'm saying as more of an objective thing. Like I'll usually make the difference. I'll usually differentiate between the two. Like I don't usually mix the two ever. I can't think of a time I ever have. Like
right, I do on occasion, but it's not intentional. It's because again, like a lot of people say, and it's true that I'm long-winded. So sometimes I will shorten things and think that what I'm saying is implicit, like that this is my opinion, and I just won't directly state it. And then they're like, "That's not an objective fact," and I'm like, "Oh fuck, here we go." And then I have to like explain.
No, I mean, there's one thing about saying what you think is, with conviction. It doesn't mean that you're saying that has to be objectively true. You're just saying that, that's what you think. Like,
right.
I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just
But
sometimes
it's context. Like, it should be obvious in the context in which you're saying these things. It should be obvious to people who aren't
right.
fucking stupid. But the
That
problem is you're
that's
talking to a lot
that's
of fucking idiots.
that's sort of how I feel. And a lot of times I've noticed that it'll be people who just don't like you. So I think they like purposefully frame your
Misinterpret.
words. Yeah, they'll frame it as like, "Oh, you're lying now," and obviously that's not what's happening.
Yeah, honestly, I think you have a bias against me because you've somehow labeled me as a doxer, which I guess is something that you don't like. But in reality, I've never actually looked for anybody's shit. Like, all those addresses there were being posted publicly. Like, I didn't have to find them or gain them illegally. Not to mention, you don't know the context at all why I'd be doing that. So it's not really something that I don't think you could really, like, whatever kind of opinion you're trying to form. It's ill informed. Like,
Hmm.
and I think, yeah, like, I think you're a very emotional type person. So you think on passion, on your emotions and shit. Like, so, like, you attach me, you associate me as something you don't like. So other things I say, you're gonna fucking basically try to misframe it because you don't like me, because you don't like something I did or said.
I really don't know, but I will say, regardless, like I wasn't there, but let's for the sake of argument, odds right. You made the claim, like honestly, like it. Why are we
Would
like
I really
arguing
make a?
over this?
I hate to cut you off, but would I really make a claim that secular historians agree that Jesus was the Son of God? Does
No,
that
well,
even?
no. To be fair, I think that's straw manning odd. I don't think that's what he's claiming.
No,
He's not.
I was specific. I said
Mhm.
secular and otherwise. Most
Right,
historians. I wasn't. Yeah, I
right.
wasn't different.
I get that, but I think what he's saying is that you're saying that most historians agree that Jesus existed, and then you're making a separate claim that you believe that he's the Son of God, and that's what you were doing, right? So,
When
but
actually, the truth is, I didn't even go from the angle of what I personally believe. I found that to be irrelevant within the
right,
conversation. But he
right.
already knew from previously that I was a Christian, so obviously he knows. But yeah, I didn't bring that up at all. I didn't say anything about the supernatural or him being the Son of God. I just said that that guy existed. That most people agree that that guy existed. Historians, people who are experts on the subject. That's all.
He may have lied, but the point that I made is I wasn't there. I don't know. I don't have any reason to believe otherwise. And most importantly, this is the point I was making before. Honestly, I don't think it's very significant. What's the big it's almost to me it's like Ian who was like hyper focused on my job. It's like
Well, I think
what's the
what he's
deal?
trying to. I think he's trying to make the argument that most historians don't agree that Jesus existed. That's what I'm pretty sure he's saying. Like, or at
Hmm,
least that's what he was saying
maybe.
in the chat that I was talking to him at. Like,
Take it easy, Odd.
and Melody, no, there's nothing wrong with having emotions, but there is something wrong with using your emotions in place of reason.
That I literally just made a video explaining this. And I always have to do this because people think that I'm attacking emotions, and I'm like, that's not my point. I'm not saying emotions are stupid or wrong.
Emotions are the reason we do almost everything. No, I mean,
Mhm.
it's the basis of like basic psychology.
Yes,
There's, but
you wouldn't have drive without them at all.
it's the reason we do anything. It's the reason anything matters to
Hmm.
us.
Hmm.
But when I think a lot of people, they their reasoning is based on emotion and not like reasoned. That's the
Hmm.
problem.
Yeah, that's what I mean when I say it, most of the time anyway. When I use the term emotional, that's almost always what I mean. I believe whatever you just said that I disagree with, you didn't reach your conclusion through logic. You got there through emotional reasoning, which is usually you're like,
Whatever you like or don't like, basically. Like,
yes, you're
yeah,
defending your identity. Like your identity is defending itself, I should say. And so you just have this automatic intuitive emotional response. And you can tell because people, when they're doing this, they don't have reasoning. They don't tell you why they think something.
Yeah, they never get to the actual thought process behind it. Just like, I don't
Mhm.
like this. I don't like that.
Yep. And then you ask them, and they're like, birds
Yeah,
and
the gist
stuff.
is, I don't like that. I don't like this. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like,
Oftentimes they don't even know. They don't even know why. They just don't like it.
yeah.
What are
Well,
birds
yeah, a
and
lot of times
stuff?
they end up, yeah, I mean, that would require some introspection, some kind of self awareness, which I'm not seeing a lot of with a lot of people, like on these chat rooms.
Hmm.
What
What
happened?
are
Did Odyssey just rage quit? What?
I'm not sure. He did say bye to me and Rash. Maybe you just had to leave. Maybe you rage quit. I don't have a clue. I don't know. Maybe he's mad that I'm not like,
He's mad you're not picking a side. Yeah, he is.
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
there's an
like
element of that. Yeah,
I don't do that. I've never done that. I don't do no like you tend to, and I'm not saying that's what he's doing, by the way, but like I don't do
I
this.
am. I'm saying there's an element of it.
I know you are, but like I don't do this thing where like you associate with me and you tend to agree with me, so I automatically defend you. I've never done that, and I never will. I find it illogical, and yeah. So if that's the case, and I'm not saying it is, I know you are. If that's the case, I'm sorry, but I'll never do that. It's not who I am.
I'm not saying that's the sole like reasoning behind it, but I'm saying there's an element of that going on. I'm pretty, in my opinion.
Right. I don't know. I don't
Yeah, and
do.
I'm not even asking you to agree with me or
I know.
what.
I know. Regardless, I don't do tribalism, or at least I guess what I should say is I don't. I try not to do tribalism because we all kind of get dragged in sometimes without even realizing it. But
I
I
think
do
for the
my
most
best
part,
not to.
I think for the most part, you're trying to be unbiased and being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Even though you know that most of the things that you lean towards, there are some kind of subconscious bias. It's just
Oh,
natural.
absolutely. I don't
But
think you can be completely unbiased, but you can make efforts toward it.
yeah, I mean, we all have our dispositions, the shit we like, don't like.
Mm.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like your way of thinking, I think you try to be as unbiased as possible. I think as
I
much.
try. Yeah. And while recognizing that I can't be perfectly, that, I mean, that's all you can do is like, if you care about truth, all you can do is try to eliminate bias and by recognizing it, becoming aware of your biases and not getting skewed by like tribalism, because that's one of the biggest sources of emotional thinking. Like,
Well, I think a lot of times people want to conflate the truth with whatever their personal tastes or preferences are. Like, I
mhm,
like this, so this has to be true. I don't like that, so that can't be true. I think
right.
that it boils down to a bit like that. Like,
Yeah, well, they're, but the problem is they're not mutually exclusive, but they're not linked. Like what you like has nothing to do with what is true. So
absolutely nothing.
that's the issue.
Yeah, but we naturally want what we like to be true also in a lot
Yeah.
of
Oh,
cases.
absolutely. I'll admit that 100%.
Yeah, I
But
think everybody has that natural inclination to want
yeah.
what they like to be real or true.
Hmm. Which is why I think the Socratic method is important. You need to take any of your beliefs and break them apart and try to like question them so that emotional reasoning isn't winning the day, so to speak.
I agree,
And
but I think when it comes down to a lot of things that we can't know, which I mean,
mhm,
if we want to get real, which is literally everything, but when it comes down to like things we cannot test or observe and shit like that, like when it comes
yeah,
down to like philosophical, religious ideas, shit like that that we can't know, like I think at that point you can almost you can pull the ideas apart all day, but
mhm.
none of them are going to be any more correct than the others. It's really down to what you believe or your personal.
When it comes to like absolute proof, you're right.
Yeah,
And yeah, so it's gonna it's always just gonna go back and forth, and then
it's going to
you're
come
not
down to
gonna.
your. It's going to come down
Yeah,
to something other than proof. It's going to come down to like what you're inclined to believe, basically,
mhm.
regardless of whatever that reason is.
Right. And usually there will be evidence, just not
Right.
true.
Yeah, I agree.
Just not
Nobody believes.
true.
Yeah, but there's
And
going to be evidence for all of those belief systems.
that's true. Absolutely. So the issue, one issue is that people have different justifications for what constitutes as evidence. And then you'll just get into an argument of what evidence is. And then it becomes like really long, and it does generally not really solve anything most of the time. When it comes to these big claims, like for example the existence of God, that's one of those claims that's just sort of, you're not gonna.
Yeah, or what that even is, like what
Right,
yeah,
right.
forget
Now
what
I
that even
won't.
means. Like,
Yeah, but well, some people would go so far as to claim that a discussion of it's meaningless. There, I disagree.
I disagree with that. I think all of the
Okay,
discussions are meaningful.
right.
Yeah.
I think they're meaningful. Some people think that it's just a topic you should never touch, which I disagree, because I think the implications are extremely important to everyone. And I think both of us would agree with that. Like whether or not there is a God is extremely important.
Yeah, that matters.
Yeah,
What
you
what
can't
what
deny
the
that.
nature of that God would be, or what are we talking about exactly? Like, yeah.
Well, then you get into the specifics. That's
Well,
outside of the.
yeah, but it's about questioning the nature of what's real. Like,
Mm,
in that, yeah, that matters.
mm.
Even if we can't ultimately come to any conclusions, like, it still matters.
Absolutely. And I think like I can't take people seriously because some people do make that claim. They're like, well, it doesn't even matter. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? What
Well, but
world are you living in?
if I think they're saying it doesn't matter, I think what they're really in a way saying is that there's no way to know. So in that sense, it doesn't really matter because
I
yeah,
guess okay, if that's the claim they're making, I guess I can see the point. But the whole purpose of the discussion is to lay out the evidence. Like we already agree that both sides have evidence. Now let's not get into what we constitute as evidence, because we'll
yeah,
just
yeah,
get
yeah. No,
bogged
but
down.
reason. Let's just say reasons to believe
Yes.
like
So
this.
that's what the conversations are about. That's like when I watch sometimes I'll watch debates between theists and atheists, and the whole purpose is to let them throw out their arguments and why they believe what they do, and it allows you to kind of plug it in with what you think already, like what you believe, and
Mhm.
it allows you to kind of go further in this really important question. So that's why I think that it's a good thing, and I don't think there's anything that just should not be discussed.
Yeah, I think for the most part, everything should be pretty much open to discussion.
Mhm.
I agree.
And
That's why I feel like even though we seem to like vehemently disagree on a lot of like very core values and ideas and shit, we still agree on a lot of like the methods of like kind of like looking at things. Like you're
yeah,
trying to be as objective as you can, and I'm trying to be as objective as I can.
right. And I don't deny that at all. And yeah, I think that, well, I've always said what people focus on is like more of what their perspective is going forward. Like they're choosing it. Like if, in other words, in short, if you want to find similarities between people, you can find them. If you want to find differences between people, you can find them. It's all about what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Chicks have it easy in Islam regarding the rules.
I don't know much about the rules. As far as I know,
Uh,
they're a little more restrictive than like say the West. Like they have to wear
right.
certain.
So the question would be, is that Islam or is that cultures like independent of Islam? And I don't know the answer to that.
I wouldn't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's like something that's ordained in the Quran or if that's just something that's like in that region. I don't know
Right.
because I've heard of Muslims that don't do that. Like,
Exactly. So it becomes a little tricky.
and even
And
if it is ordained in the Quran, was that something that's just open to your interpretation? Because almost every religious text seems to be. So, like,
mhm,
unless it's laid out like really plainly, and a lot of times, even when it is, they'll be like, "No, that was a metaphor. That was
mhm.
literal. That was, you know."
Yep, and that always happens with pretty much any religious text.
Yeah, but I feel like the texts themselves are, for the most part, and if you look at like the different writing styles and shit at the time, like I think if you're educated on what the way it was written and the writing styles and things like that, I think it's oftentimes the context itself will tell you if it's meant to be taken literally, poetically, or metaphorically, or any combination of that. I think a lot of times, from what I've read, a lot of times it's
That may be true. I don't know, but like me personally, this is only my subjective deal. I think that everything, like if you're talking about truth and it's supposed to be the word of God, or at least depicted from prophets that heard from, like, this is God's words,
mhm.
everything should be objective. Like when you kind of jump around and like some things are metaphor, some things are not intended to be taken literally, then it opens up a can of worms of like people having
It
different
does. Oh
interpretations, and
yeah,
it's
it
like
does.
I don't
Yeah.
like that. Again, that's
Yeah.
just me subjectively, but I hate it. It's like,
No, I mean it's a glaring issue, and the thing is, yeah, there were a lot of different literary styles and
mhm,
different ones for different, for different style, different times and different ways of writing. So it's like, yeah, like all that stuff matters, and not everyone is going to pick up on that. So that's why you're getting a lot of different interpretations of it. And if
mhm,
you look at the texts themselves, they're saying like, well, the interpretation is supposed to be more or less supernatural. So it's like, how do you? That's why you're having all this, like, because everyone's like, oh, I've got the right interpretation, And a lot of it's, yeah, it's not good for somebody that wants something clear. Like,
right.
it's
Well,
not.
I think it's important to some extent. Like regardless of what you believe, clarity is important because otherwise, who has the truth? Like how do you differentiate? Like how do you measure truth when we
Well,
don't
I mean, it could be in front of you, and what do you do with it if you don't understand what you're reading? Like, that's
exactly
another
that?
issue. Yeah, you
Yeah,
don't, and it talks about it alludes to an idea like that. Like you could, as if there's another way to interpret it that's not necessarily like in a rational way. If
mhm.
that makes any sense. Like, I
Well,
guess what they would call
it's not like
it,
objective
it's
like
abstract.
yeah,
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 it's not
exactly.
something that can be proved. It's not that sort of thing.
Hmm.
If anything, you might want to, you could call it, the best thing you could compare it to would be something that maybe like intuition or something like. It's the best I
Yeah,
could compare it to, and that wouldn't even really be exactly what I'm talking about, but it's something more abstract from what I know, from what I understand.
right. And anything abstract is not rooted in just like typical logic, typical
Right, it's
reason.
not
So
the
it's like,
methodical way that we
yeah,
understand things. No,
right, which
it doesn't
means
mean that there's no value, but it means that it's not clear. It cannot be clearly understood by all.
mhm, or at least it can't be clearly understood in the same way by all.
Right.
It'll move around, like it'll be more subjective, I guess, which means like I don't know,
There's
it's
no way
problematic.
to, yeah, there's no way to say this is for sure true or this is not true. Like
Hmm.
that's the that's the problem with that.
Right. That's how I see it.
I see it the same way. Yeah, I do. And I'm, you know, I actually consider myself religious, Well, in this sense, like how they lay out religions like Christianity. Like,
Hmm. Right. They're all different, and you kind of have to look through like a slightly different lens with each because they each have different truth claims attached to them, and it's a pain in the ass, and a lot of people don't like it. Even other atheists are like, yeah, like why are you like looking into this shit? Like it's fucking bullshit. And I'm like because they're making claims, and regardless of whether or not I think it's bullshit or not, if I'm going to make an appeal to someone's logic, I have to kind of meet them where they're at and be able to understand what it is I'm trying to.
refute. Yeah, you need to
Yeah,
understand what they're talking about.
you have
Otherwise,
to. and
yeah,
and so that's why I've read the Bible numerous times, and even then, that's not enough because then there's various versions, and then there's like the Quran, which is complicated for numerous reasons, and I haven't really put a lot of effort into it, to be honest. But each are completely different, and just by the nature of how your mind works, you we have like like a way of like pattern seeking, and our brains create heuristics based on what we've experienced. So my reading the Bible when I'm trying to talk about Islam is going to fuck me up because I'm going to make certain assumptions about Islam that's not necessarily true because it's not exactly the same as the Bible in many, many ways. And because of that, you have to do the hard work. You have to go into it and fucking.
Yeah, no, you can't just generalize them all as the same thing and just try to refute each one as if they're all the same. Like, yeah, which means you have to know each one in depth as if you were studying as if you were believing in that almost, but not really.
Right. I agree with you, Rash, on.
If you.
I heard you just dropped all of a sudden. Maybe it's just me. I don't hear anything right now. As soon as I pulled Melody up, I hear you now. You were saying it's like, and then I didn't hear anything after that. But I brought Melody up, and it seemed to be, I don't know what happened. But Rash, I agree with the obvious. That's obvious to me. Like if they're using the word like, then it's a simile.
Yeah, that right there wouldn't require any context. Like you just know. Yeah. But there are certain things, literary styles and things like that would not be so obvious to the casual reader. That, you know.
Right. And so I've met some atheists and I push back against them, and then they're like, you're a traitor. But I disagree because it's just about you're being dishonest. Some atheists will go, they'll take that example right there. That's like,
no, dude.
What's going on, Melody? Having issues?
Yeah, but basically that's akin to like taking a piece of poetry and or symbolism and trying to interpret that literally, or saying that's yeah.
But the point I was making is oftentimes, or not oftentimes, sometimes I'll find atheists who try to take like an obvious simile or something like it, or a metaphor, and it's clear, and they will try to make it as if it's an objective claim to make their point. And I'm like, dude, you're being dishonest. Like, that's not what they're doing.
They tried to make the meaning literal when given context it was a metaphor. Yeah, stupid.
And that's the same. I see it on both sides, by the way. But it's like, regardless of what side you're on, you're not seeking truth at that point. You just want to be right, and it's a waste.
Yeah, it's trash. It's a trash way to argue. Yeah. It only works when you have like I don't know. I mean, if the argument, I think a lot of people like an argument to them is like how many people agree with them.
Oh my god, that was so embarrassing.
What happened?
Oh, nothing.
Did something happen?
Yeah, the cat just came. Nothing. Okay. So how are you guys doing?
I can't complain.
Filling.
So we're talking about the Bible.
Religious texts in general. We're kind of jumping around.
We're talking about like I guess like the Socratic method. I guess.
Yeah. That's what led into it. Yeah.
Well, I've got some. I don't know. So I was raised Catholic, and it was an interesting time. I mean, I liked it, but at the same time, it was very strict, and I don't know. I think that it was a good thing, but whenever I got older, I realized that it wasn't the best thing for me, and I didn't really like it that much. So I kind of stepped away.
So whether or not you like it, is that reflective of whether or not it's true?
Oh, a lot of it's not true. I mean, I'm not going to say, it's the blood of Christ that I'm drinking whenever I drink the wine, because
Hmm.
that's what they intend for me to say. Because that's what we're told whenever we go to
Right.
communion. So there's communion where you so you consume like the body of Christ, which is so I'm eating Jesus and I'm drinking his blood. So
I think that's clearly a metaphor. I don't think a lot of people understand what that metaphor means. Like, I'll be honest, I don't even understand what it means, but I know it is a metaphor. Like, obviously, I don't think they're talking about cannibalism.
well, it's kind of
Well,
messed
no,
up
because you're
though.
literally eating a piece of bread, even when he was like, telling them in the Last Supper, because that's where it comes from. He's telling them
No,
like
that's
this. It's like
true.
a representation of. He's like, this bread is like not literally his body, but it's like a representation of his body. Simply his
No,
body.
that's exactly, yeah, that is correct. And I didn't always, because I was a kid, but then I realized whenever I got older, I'm like, what the hell? Like, why am I
What
eating
does
like
that mean?
representation? So I'm supposed to manifest this as I'm eating like a person's body, and I'm
Right.
supposed to
The
drink his
question is, what
blood?
does this even mean? Why are we doing this? Why would I want to eat like the guy, my Lord and Savior? Why would I want to cannibalize him? Like, these are questions that were,
I
obvious.
I I don't know, and that is one of the other things that I questioned, just because I thought it was really weird. And so I know that well, okay, there's some other Christian churches, but I know Catholicism that they definitely do that everywhere. To where, yeah, you're supposed to eat the body of Christ, the blood of Christ, and which is Jesus. Christ means Jesus. So,
But you used to like it. You said like you used to like when you were younger. Like you kind of like
well, well,
you were more
yeah,
into it.
yeah, because I like drinking wine and eating like a
Well, I'm
piece
not
of
even just
bread.
talking about like just the communion part because I remember like the cracker and all that. But I'm talking about just like the overall, the whole. I guess the religion. You were kind of cool with it when you were younger, but you didn't I think the older you got, the more questions you had about it. Like, and you're like, wow, does this make sense or not? Probably.
Okay, so I was actually pretty bored during mass. Like they call that's what they call it in the Catholic Church. Whenever you go, and now I was pretty bored because it was the same thing over and over and over. The only thing that was different was the sermon, and usually that was kind of boring. So yeah, whenever I was young, like my sister and I, we would like pinch each other to to just, I don't know, because we were just bored.
To stay awake, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
you
it,
know,
it was just
no,
I
that would
did
be
not
really
like
cool.
it.
They didn't, they didn't have like a little Sunday school or something for like the kids or something.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, and we ate like donuts afterwards, but yeah, whenever I got older, and my daughter, she went to Catholic school, and I mean that was okay. I felt kind of judged a little bit.
Well, but judged like how?
Well, because I had my kid like really young, and so she went there.
Oh, you feel like they were judging you for being like a more
Yeah,
younger mom.
yeah. So I'm a single mom. I'm going there, and people are like, "Oh, are you her sister?" And I said, "No, I'm her mom."
Oh shit! And then they're like gossiping, like, oh, she's a whore and all this shit. Like, yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot of that.
the women, they did not like me because they have like 2.5, kids, and they have like this awesome house and everything's perfect, and I'm just like this off the wall person that just comes in there. And so I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I pick her up from school, then I go to work at night, and So I had like a lot of, and that was like after I didn't even go to church anymore. And so people were like, why aren't you going to church? What's wrong with you? So everybody, so like all the parents, they would say stuff about me, and it made me feel like shit. They were
Yeah,
kind of assholes about it.
yeah. No, it sucks being like in a real weird, judgy, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. They were like, it was just, it was horrible. I did not like, it was a good school for her to go to, but as a parent, it was not conducive to my personal
Who
health.
cares about the past? Excuse me.
It sucked. It sucked ass.
Pardon
Yeah, it's
me.
like everybody's judging you. Hey, what's going on, Tommy?
How you doing, chat friend and evil trobs and Melody? I don't
Hello,
get it.
Tommy.
How you doing, Melody? If the school was good for your daughter and everything, why would you care if they judged you or whatever? Would you
Well, it's
rather?
uncomfortable. I mean, I'm not the answering for it, but it's obviously uncomfortable. Like,
Because I have to go pick her up in front of like all of these other kids, and so
cares?
I've got to talk to
What are
the
you, teen
parents.
mom? What are you,
I have-
teeny popper mom? Who cares if everybody gets judged, right? We're judged every day. We're judged on here, right? So
yeah, but it's different, like putting yourself intentionally in an environment like that.
all right,
That
what's
is
better? I
completely
hear that.
different.
Hold on, let me finish, Melody, please. I do hear that, but here I go again. What's better for the child? A good Catholic
And
upbringing?
she did. She did what was better for her kid.
And I applaud her for that.
I did, absolutely. Yeah.
What
And she
made
had
you
a good
what-
education.
How'd they judge you? I don't get it. You're a mom, you're taking your kid to school. What could they criticize you
Well,
about?
they're saying she's basically a whore for having her kids too early, and like everyone else has like got this like like the two family,
Yeah, that's true.
the two parent family thing, and she's like being judged as like a single mom, young mom. They're like, oh, she's a whore, no husband.
That doesn't mean she's a whore. It just meant she made a
Well,
bad
that's
decision.
They kind of
what
treated me like that,
Here's
and
how I look at it. At least
I wore like clothes that, I mean, I wore clothes like I was a teenager. Well, I was pretty much a teenager.
Oh, so you're Sally Stripper. You're going there as Sally Stripper.
I don't know what she was wearing, but basically the vibe I'm getting is that they were thinking of her like a whore, pretty much.
I was in my early 20s, so I don't see
Here's
like why
here's
I
one
should
thing,
not
though. They
wear
will
the clothes that I
respect you.
was.
Melody, they will respect you for this reason, though. You did not abort your kid. So I'd rather see 20 young mothers that are single who are whores or whatever taking their kids to school. They can't be that bad, right? Then
I mean, at least they're trying to take care of the kids.
exactly. That's my point. Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with
And some child killer taking their poor little soul and killing them in an incubator or some fucking doctor. So I don't see why they should have been mean to you like that. Yes, they're not.
the Trumps felt that, like the pro-choice thing. He's like, yeah, that was a stab right at pro-choice. But I want to shift the topic a little bit later. Not right now, but maybe we could shift the topic to the whole immigration thing, because that's like a big thing right now.
Oh,
Not
yes.
right now.
Deport. Yes, deport them all.
I've pretty much already covered mine, and see, I try to let you guys talk because I make videos constantly. So you already
I know you make a lot of content.
what I think. You know what I think.
No, I don't. I don't watch your videos, Trubs.
Well, I think we discussed it. I think it was the first time I was even on your pin. I think that was the topic.
After I seen him masturbating to some Michael Smith guy who dates Candace Owens, I was like, okay, I can't watch any more of this. I am being drawn to Satan every second that I look at this.
But
Tommy, why are you pretending like we're not dating?
There was no money shot, so
like
you don't know what he was doing.
See, don't talk like that and weird like that. You're going to get a mean Tommy loves God, not a nice Tommy loves God. See, when Tommy loves God is nice, I give out treats. People are bad.
So I think there's other aspects of this whole deportation act, because I think when we discussed it was before really the deportation act was like.
There is more things to get into, like for instance,
I'm thinking more the part I'm really.
Yeah, what about like Guantanamo Bay? I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking like the whole civil unrest aspect of this, and like the whole that's kind of what I'm talking about, because that's fairly recent. Like,
I think all of it connects. So everybody's talking like it's all like these separate chaotic things. I believe it all has to do with Donald Trump's promise. See, in 2017, he made massive tax cuts for the wealthy. And I'm adding someone up, by the way. So they end in 2025, most of them anyway. and he made promises. That's how he got elected. He made some massive fucking promises to 1%ers that he was going to do the same and even more. That's going to cost $4 trillion. So part of this immigration deal, some of it's a smokescreen to make racist people and people that are like turning like immigrants into like hardcore criminals and shit.
Oh,
Which
they are.
there's no evidence to support that at all.
Yeah, there is.
No, there isn't.
The rape gangs, the coyotes
Well,
raping.
that's the thing. Like, that's no small thing. Like, this whole the whole civil unrest, the racist aspect of it. That's not. That's
What's
not a
racist
small
about?
thing.
Hold on a
You guys
minute.
got audio?
Yeah, what's racist about a country must
So,
have?
can you hear me?
I hear you.
No, I agree that we should have closed
All right,
borders.
so any country, if I crossed into any country right now, or snuck into any country, I'd be a criminal. People must have laws. You can't have bleeding hot gay guys like Trobs thinking a Mexican's cute, so you let them.
And I agree. and I agree that there should be laws. You know, we are running a country, but
You break
what
the
I'm-
law, there's a penalty to it, right? You and little Pablo get deported. Bottom line.
So the issue is not like, I'm not claiming that criminals that are obviously charged with shit and they get deported, I don't even have a problem with that. Who cares? My issue is he's using that and hyper focusing on these anecdotes, which are not representative of immigrants in general,
Yes,
and
they are.
claiming that it's this massive issue, which is, it's proven to be bullshit. It's not true. The
Ever heard
statistics
about the
don't
rape
bear it
gangs
out.
in England, Trobs? Ever heard about the rape gangs in England?
Yes.
Yeah, those
That-
idiots. Let these
What does
people-
that have to
Yeah,
do
this
with
is the
us?
United States.
Well, look,
Like-
what about the cartels and the rape gangs out here, the human
Look,
trafficking?
I think it's pretty clear to anybody that most of these people, we let them in, whatever the fuck the reason was. Maybe we wanted to have a fucking immigration policy, but we let them in. And the majority is, most of them, I think, are trying to keep a low profile because they don't want to be deported, because they know if they do rack up a criminal record, they're going to be easier to deport.
Right.
So I think most of them are here to do menial wage jobs, you know, and they're here to basically still they're having a better quality of life than where they were at. And I think they're trying to keep a low profile
Yeah,
for the
they
most
are.
part. I don't think most of them are running around trying to be criminals and shit. So
A small
to
majority, I agree with you. On a small majority, do want to come here to work, but just sadly,
there's no small majority. It's either a majority or it's the minority. But a small majority, there's no such thing. Like, it's either the majority or not. And I'm saying that the majority of them are here just to work and keep a low profile.
the majority of them here for crime. Then I misspoke. They're here for crime. There are a minority are here for working. The rest are here to do criminal shit, to change our languages, to make us conform to them. And if I went to Mexico and told them they have to speak English, it'd be a big problem. Okay.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I
We go over
think-
to other countries and we expect them to speak English.
No, we don't.
So
Who? Give me an
yes,
example.
we
Give
do.
me an
Yes,
example.
we do. In every other country, we
Can I have an
expect them to
example?
speak
I would
English.
say
I'm gonna
that a
try not to
minority
make
of
it
them are
ass of
criminals.
myself.
I would say that if they were to do an actual
That's my
study,
man.
and
Yes. And
I'd be
I
curious to
kind
see
of feel
actual
like you're
numbers.
rhetoric, but
Can I have an example from Melody, please, where Americans go to other countries and make them speak English?
No, the reason they're able to do that here. I'm sorry, but the reason that they're able to do that here and not have to learn the language is because they tend to gather in communities, sanctuary cities and such, where they don't need to speak the language because they're all from the same country. They don't need to speak English because they're only in Spanish-speaking communities. Now,
yeah, that's true.
as a country, facilitated this.
Yeah, where
We
I live,
endorsed it. We incentivized it.
there
We
are a
did
lot of-
this. Our
And
government
we
did
were wrong
this.
for that, and the government was wrong for that.
Our
because
government did that.
Yes,
And now we want to treat them like criminals for basically taking the free shit that we offered them in the first place.
well, they
I
are
think-
criminals. They came up.
Well, we offered it to them. We gave it to them, and we
Doesn't
even said
matter.
we'll protect it.
I opened my window and showed you a brand new VCR out the window. Does it give you the right to come in my house and steal that
The
VCR?
point is,
Did you
why
just
would
say a
we?
VCR?
You know what
point
I
is-
mean. Give me a break,
The
Melody.
point is, the majority of them are not committing violent or sexual crimes.
What are
They
you,
don't
like,
have
living in the
to.
Even a small
1980s?
minority. They shouldn't be in our country anyways committing crimes. We got
I
nothing to do with
agree. We should not have let them in here.
Well, then we
However,
can-
we did.
If your
And
issue is just people who are committing crimes, I don't think even the left disagree with you. The issue is
Okay.
you've bought Trump's bullshit that it's like
Right
this
in.
large majority of like there's no
and when we're
evidence
saying
for that
crimes,
claim.
we're talking about violent sexual crime.
Yes.
Violent,
The majority of the criminal activity is within like white males in
Oh,
I
America.
know. Yes,
God.
you're
Yeah.
no,
right.
if we were to take percentages, yes, that would be
It's
numbers. By
not
percentage, it would
people
be
of
the black
other
community. If you take it
ethnicities.
percent,
It's
and
white
there's
males.
That
socio,
is true.
look, there's
That is true.
socioeconomic reasons for that. But the point is, what you want to look at is not when you're looking at any population, you want to look at percentages, not
Right.
numbers.
More white people in this country than anything else. So of
But
course,
even
more white
Right.
anything.
so to,
Which is
to go
why
into
you're looking
what
at the
JT
percentage.
is saying here, even if you look at just percentage, Hispanics commit crime at a way lower rate than white people, for example, and black
Oh
people.
my
Like,
God.
like you don't have an argument when it comes
Yes,
to
I do
actual
have an
statistics.
You'd have to pull up the
Lincoln
statistical
Riley.
percentage. You'd have to pull up the statistics on percentages
Oh,
of
okay.
violent crimes being committed by race.
Go
And
talk to
that,
Lincoln Riley's family members. Go talk to a family member who's been
Those
killed.
are
Illegal.
anecdotes.
That's
you
one
need-
person. That's one family.
Exactly.
There's
It's
many
an anecdote.
families. What are you talking about?
Well, no, I'm talking
you
about
cannot
something
base a
that
whole
shows
country on one fucking family.
no
Hello?
percentages based on criminal records of violent or sexual crimes.
So,
That's
I'm
what,
here-
based on demographic, based on race. That's
Why
what
don't
you
you
would need to look at.
Ever watch Uncle Colin Flaherty? Go look at him. Go watch his.
Go
old-
look at Uncle Tom.
Looking,
What?
taking
Are
on
you
a
going,
base
are you going to
case
Uncle
like
Tom's cabin?
what I'm saying is I could pull out a number of different examples that doesn't make it the majority. That doesn't make it.
We have cartels over here and all these MS-13 gangs who cut babies' heads.
I agree. The gangs need to go. Nobody's arguing
Where those
that.
gangs
But
come
the thing-
from?
but-
They come from these communities that are replacing the native population that are here, pal. Wake up, buddy.
Look, this is the whole point. You take
you
these.
just want to prick. That's all you
You
care
have
about.
you have anecdotes. You have examples, and I'm not saying these examples are not true of
Just
violent
don't give your-
criminals. And then you brush it broadly across the entire race. That is stupid.
No, it's not. It's not to tie a race. The people that are in our country do that.
That's not true.
What do you mean? MS-13, Ventrendrea, Ragua. How many other fucking gangs am I going to
I'm not saying they don't
Cartel.
exist.
Dude,
I'm
okay,
saying that
let's-
they're the minority, and they are.
The
They're
vast
tiny.
minority.
Anyways, they shouldn't be here, and they must go. And that's why we have.
Right. Nobody, and the thing is, and to be clear, nobody is arguing that the criminals and the gangs shouldn't leave. Everybody's for that. Everybody agrees. But what everybody does not agree on is labeling all of illegal immigrants as criminals.
You don't
Yes,
think they all should
and-
be deported. You come into
No,
our country
no, and-
illegally and break
No,
the law,
I-
you should be deported.
Right. And I think a lot of people.
They bolster the economy. They
No,
only
they don't.
help
You,
us.
you
Yes,
believe
they
Well, the
do.
thing
Yes,
is,
yes, they are.
employers,
Facts.
corporations, companies are using them for cheap labor instead of outsourcing jobs, which they would be otherwise if they didn't have people coming in this country that would do it for cheaper. They would be moving those jobs overseas in some factory overseas. That's what they would be doing, but they don't have to do that because the workers are coming to them.
And that's why we
So
should kick
they're
them
saving
out.
a lot of money that way. Because there's
They will.
there's no way they're going to pay American workers to do half the shit
But
that
they
they got
will.
the
If you-
illegals doing. No,
They won't.
I'm sick
They
of
won't.
people
They
saying
won't.
Americans won't.
when they can get it, when they can get it cheaper by outsourcing, they're not going to pay an American.
in Southern California and in New Mexico. That's where a lot of them go.
But they're
And-
not going
and
to
that-
pay
that
an
gives them
American
to
more
go back
money
home
than
and
they
give
can
it to
pay
their
a Chinese person.
and it makes sense.
And we should deport them for that. They shouldn't be.
No,
All I'm
for
saying is,
somebody to
they
come here and work
deport-
on a farm and send back money to their
I don't give
family.
a fuck about them. I care about
What's
the
wrong with
American
that? I
veterans.
don't
I care
What
about
I'm saying is, think about this. If they say deport all the illegals, as if that's even logistically possible, let's just say they do. Now, all those companies that hired them are going to outsource those jobs, not to Americans. They're going to outsource them overseas to like
No,
fucking
Americans
China or
will
some
work that
bullshit.
job.
Because
You
they're not going to pay an American twice or whatever. They're not going to pay them more when they can get it
No,
cheaper.
you
That's
said
just
that,
how
and I agree with you. But here's the point.
right. So you're not saving American jobs. What you're doing is you're keeping those jobs from being outsourced by having illegals here.
Not really.
Hey, I got a question. Tropes. Can anybody see my chat up here? I'm trying to figure out the technical
I
aspect.
saw you in private chat, so I think if you look to your right, there are several little buttons, and the top is comments. That will be the main chat if that's what you're looking for.
Principal jobs.
I'm switching back and forth because I can't see the chat.
Well, private
can't see the
chat is
text.
where you posted a moment ago, and that is not the public chat. That's
It
only.
seems like you're in Fenway Park with a football helmet waiting
So
for
you want to go to down there? You'll see a little ellipsis, like the 3 dots down there. That's all the way on the right.
Okay,
Next
where
to
it says more.
Yeah, more, and then you're going to go to comments, and that's how you can see the public chat. See that? Yeah, and that's how you're going to comment in the chat. Every time you need to chat, you just do that.
So Eraser is bringing this back to our actual point, and that is
Right.
that you are hyper-focused just on criminals when there's no evidence to suggest they are a large part of the population,
Yes,
and they're not. They're not.
That's correct.
Yes, there is.
And so hold on. Stop
Mexican
interrupting.
mafia.
Stop interrupting. Hold on. So let me at least make my argument first. So the whole deal here is that is not all that's happening. No one disagrees with getting rid of freaking violent criminals. This is phase 1. Trump even admitted it. After this, he's going to get rid of and by the way, he's already getting rid of people who aren't violent criminals. just yeah, see, that's my point. So that shows you that like it's not about violence for you. You're lying because you're racist. That's what it's really
I'm not
about.
a racist. I have friends of all kinds of mud colors.
But it's not about
Oh my God! Did you
mud
just say
colors.
that?
There's nothing
Okay.
wrong with a couple of mud
Did you
colors.
just say mud colors?
Hey, listen. Okay, that glaringly
What the
racist.
fuck, man?
Wait. I'm not even going to go with the outrage. That's funny, actually. That's funny as shit that you called them. What did you call them? Mud colors?
No,
But listen,
mud
that's
colors?
besides the point. That's besides
mud
the point.
pals. My
That
Mud
is
pals.
kind
Mud
of funny,
pals?
though.
Dude, that's fucking hilarious. Mud pals. But listen, that's not what I'm talking. What I'm saying is, what Rob's is saying is that there's no evidence, and there's actually evidence to the
Yeah, there
contrary.
is. No,
Well,
there
you got
is.
to let me finish. Let
Okay,
me finish
sorry.
before you know what I'm saying. That the majority of undocumented immigrants, illegals, are violent. Let me finish. Are violent criminals. That meaning they have a criminal history or criminal record of violent crimes. There is no evidence. There's actually evidence to the contrary. The majority of them do not have violent criminal records because they're not committing violent crimes because they are trying not to be deported. That's the reality. So when you say I want them out, it's not because you think that they're criminals. It's because you just don't really want them here.
Yes, because
And I can understand that. And it's fine to not want them here because they're not American.
And they're replacing our people, and I mean white and black people.
I understand that, and that's fine to say that. But it would be dishonest to say, and it's not even racist to say that. It's not racist to say that.
So is this an ongoing conversation about immigration? Because it seems like that's the theme, but then it's related to God as well.
Well,
it goes back and forth.
How does God come into this?
It's because there were 2 conversations. We were talking about God. Now we're talking about this.
Also, chat doesn't necessarily follow us. Sometimes they'll have their own conversation. So they're Rash and Odyssey are talking sort of about the whole God thing right now. And
right. And what I'm trying to say is it doesn't make you racist to not want non-Americans in your country. It just makes you American. And I'm not saying it does make you racist, but it does make you, it is dishonest to say that you want them out because you see them as criminals when they don't have violent
criminals.
That's where I go into
Well, it depends. Well, there's a difference. You have to say,
point. Hold on. You don't let me finish the first thing, please. What I said was there's many Spanish people that have been here for many years that belong in this country. And then there's the illegal
whoa.
the last 20 years.
Spanish people are only from Spain. Hispanics are.
He means Hispanic. He means Hispanic.
He means
okay, please. Let's stay on track. He means Hispanic.
Okay.
Yes, Hispanic mestizo.
A lot of people are part Hispanic in the Mediterranean area.
Even you can differentiate between the crime of being here illegally and violent crimes.
I always throw
There's
that
a big difference between that.
Here's my thing. If you have a country with laws, if those laws are not enforced, you have no country. So if I don't care if they're nice.
I agree.
I don't care if they're nice little mestizo people coming over to pick oranges. I'm sorry, you're not welcome. You shouldn't come here and take our jobs, and I want to take care of our veterans.
And what I'm saying is those are jobs that would be otherwise outsourced overseas.
They would not be, my friend.
Yes,
So
Yes.
Tommy, are you going to be taking this $5 an hour orange picking job? Like, are you happy that they're
No, the real question is the corporation even going to offer it to you because they're going to fucking move that shit overseas where somebody will work for
No,
fucking
now when Trump hits them with tariffs,
pennies.
they can't go.
Tariffs
They would have
don't
to
work.
hire American. All right, before all these illegals came here, how did we survive? People think like nobody picked oranges before illegals came.
Now, if we're imposing now that you make a valid point, if we're doing both, if we're deporting people and imposing like high tariffs, we're basically strong. Yeah, if we're doing both at the same time, yeah, we're basically forcing those jobs to be domestic.
Exactly.
That basically is what he's trying to do,
point.
and I don't disagree
can I
with
make
that.
a point? Can I just interject for a second? I don't think it really has to do with whether it's immigration or not. It's just controlling the rate of controlling the rate of it, and then we get upset when it seems too fast
Well, they want to replace you.
or the too much. But we always do need to take in immigrants.
No, we don't.
What he's trying to do is he's trying to
For
stimulate basically
diplomatic
domestic
relations,
jobs.
so we can have peace. Yeah, we do.
He's what
he's trying to do.
Listen, boss, you don't know.
I
You don't
agree.
know.
It's our own
No, what
government
he's
that
doing
Oh
is he's
shit!
trying
I'm
to
being
force.
Melody.
YouTube, dude.
I'm sorry about before.
I
Yeah, I'm
wanted to
sorry.
say something if you guys would like let me speak. So as far as crime, I think that people are hyper focused upon like black people and Hispanic people instead of like white people. And that's why this
Thank you,
whole
Betty.
order is going on with Trump saying, "Oh my God, let's deport like all of the
I wanted people
all of the
deported way
Hispanics."
before.
I know what he wants
They
to
don't
do.
understand that white people commit most of the
Oh,
crimes.
shut up, because there's more white people in this country and not.
Yeah,
Okay,
no shit.
we are
And
going
they
way
commit
off
most
topic.
of
The
the
point.
fucking crimes.
Beating your own people.
Whenever you
Tommy loves
talking about
God.
like,
No,
all
we're
of
way
these
off
murders
topic.
and
Like
everything,
we're it's veering away from the topic.
We
The
are
point is,
jumping all over the place.
what Trump is trying to do by imposing these tariffs and the mass deportation is he's trying to force employers to
Yes.
give those jobs to Americans so that it can bolster our economy and basically we can be more self-sufficient.
Right.
Instead of
It's not gonna happen.
We
And
agree on what he's trying to do. My stance is it's stupid and it won't work. And all evidence points that anytime we've tried this in the past, it has failed. It won't work.
Yeah.
That's not what happens. Tariffs get passed off on the consumers and makes us have to pay more for the exact same goods.
It does, but in the long run, what he's trying to do, because he's looking at the long game, is he's saying that for initially, yes, that would be the case initially, but after that, the idea is, and in theory, it should work, is that the companies will be forced to give those jobs to Americans.
But they won't.
Yeah,
I get what he's saying. So I understand the point. So subjectively, I'm saying that will not happen. It won't happen, and he's wrong.
It's pretty extreme. What he's talking about is so extreme that yes, most people are like, that's not possible. What he's talking about. I mean, what was he even talking? He's been talking about doing a lot of extreme shit.
There was something that I noticed in the Donald Trump campaign from years and years ago when he first started, and how it's, a lot of these things just completely take a 180. But when he first came in, he said, don't discriminate against Chinese people and buy Chinese because we need to continue with trade. But then now it sort of changed to kind of like the anti. So it's taken the whole, they'll say both things. They flip flop on it. And then, whether, the opinion just changed over time. If you
Trump
follow
is all
closely
about hyper-nationalism, which means complete self-sufficiency as much as possible.
Isolationism.
And fucking anyone who gets in the way. Yeah, that's what nationalism is. It's less and less reliance on
I think the most detrimental thing is that it just kind of like gets in people's head that we're racist, and then just kind of like creates this like wall of fear that we're against. And then so it really seems like we're dicks that we're racist dicks, kind of.
Well, so the United States, we're racially and culturally more diverse than, say, Mexico or these other places.
What it's really doing is it's getting inside of people's head from the media, and then it's placing them in fear. And then it's just getting in your head psychologically, almost like fear of germs or fear of this. So then now these people feel pursued and they're not welcome. So then it's wearing them down with fear. And that's the worst thing. And they can just do that through the media, and it's fucking mean, especially
Right, it
when
doesn't even
they're
have to be
growing a
real.
food or
I agree.
something.
I think there's an element of that going on. I think because what it's you look
But
on
we
social
do have
media
to, the main
and they're
thing is
showing.
there's too much. It is getting flooded in. People want to be in America to be safe, to be taken care of, so there is an issue with how much, and especially when our own people are homeless and we don't even take care of them, and we don't even have health care like we say we do. I try to get a doctor. They put me on a wait list. I waited a year and a half. Then I go in there. They lost the paperwork. So then they can't even get me a doctor. Then they put me to another clinic. Then I go to the hospital and they don't do jack shit for me. And it's taken 2 years just to get in there. So it's just a joke. They just say this shit. They don't, none of these laws and stuff. The government programs is not like what they say. And I wouldn't trust the government one bit.
But that has no bearing upon immigration. That's what we were talking about.
He's
Healthcare.
talking more broad, but
I'm
yeah, we're
sorry
kind of
about
more
I'm
focused
just
on.
talking about whether you should even try. Well, no, I'm talking about that we're not even taking care of our own citizens like we say we are with health care. So then how can we even take care of them if we're just, we're liars.
That's how
That's
I
what
see
we
it
are. We're
too.
not even taking,
Is
it's just on
why
paper.
is Trump why the fuck is Trump wanting to send billions and billions of dollars over to fucking Israel for ammunitions whenever he could help his own goddamn people? And that's every fucking president in America. So you ask
Somehow
your
they're
fucking
making so much
president,
money
okay?
on both ends. We're selling arms to both
That is on your
sides.
president.
We like their
Don't
fighting.
talk about other. No, that's on
We're
us.
doing corrupt stuff over there. We're
That
selling
has
guns to
nothing to do
everybody
with
over there.
other.
We
That has
like that
nothing to do with
fighting because
other
we're
countries.
making money on fucking war. That's how we get fucking here was guns.
So
And that's what we're still doing is malware.
What the
Sorry.
fuck are we even talking about
Yeah.
anymore?
Yeah, that's
How
what
is
it is. That's
Israel?
number one is freaking poison and violence.
So
Then
Yeah, it is.
okay.
That's how
Well,
we got
if
it. The
you think
atomic
that, then
bomb. Baddest
that is
baby in the
that
atmosphere.
is why
Still going on
one of the
today.
reasons why you
Can you
Now
do
it's
lower this
computers and
mic a little bit?
malware and shit and
like
drones.
Louder than everybody else.
We place them in fear to get them to comply.
fucking idiot.
I must go back for 1 second. I do like what Melody said about Trump and Israel. I totally agree. One thing I don't love about Trump is his love for the Israelis and how he gives them everything to kill these poor little Palestinian kids. I think it's fucking
Oh,
disgusting.
that's fucking horrible.
holy shit, we agree on something.
I think it is
He's
utterly
trying to take
repulsive.
over the
Look at
Gaza
that. You guys
Strip.
found common ground. Look at that. You guys have so much in common now.
No, Trump needs to go to church and save his soul and stop masturbating.
Messed up.
What Trump needs to stop doing is every country, every fucking president, no matter Democrat,
Stop
Republican,
masturbating.
no matter he's gonna stop doing that. No matter if you are a Democrat or Republican, Israel always gets their bread buttered, and they always
No, we
Oh,
treat
hell yeah.
Israel. No. The way we treat Israel is if they were really us by proxy, almost like,
Yes.
as if they're the ones controlling shit. Like we
Yeah, I
treat them
know.
like they matter more than we, almost more than we do.
I do not understand that.
Well,
Like, why
it's
do
obvious.
Well,
The
why do
reason-
we
the
give them
implication
so much
would be that the people who created this country also created Israel. That would be the implication.
No. I
Yeah,
believe
it's
it's
the Russian
more simple
Revolution.
than that. The
The
simple
Russian
answer
Revolution
is
was
APAC
Jewish.
pays our Congress, both Democrats and Republicans, to make policies that are in their favor. That APAC is extremely powerful.
Yes, it is, and that's why
That
they
is
killed
the
Kennedy.
reason. They
That's
don't
why they
actually
killed Kennedy,
agree.
Trobs. That's why they killed Kennedy. Kennedy was gonna make
I don't know
AIPAC
about that.
sign
who
as
gives a shit about killing presidents?
I don't know. Maybe you're right about that. I don't know shit about
Oh,
Kennedy.
trust me,
honestly.
these Jew bastards had their hands behind all this foul shit over the years, and they get their bread buttered no matter what. They killed.
Well, some people say they run this country too.
It
They
definitely
killed the czar. They killed the czar. They've been stealing more land in the Middle East every.
So what was this about APAC?
APAC. Oh, Kennedy was going to make them register as a foreign entity, and they didn't want that. Why do you think Jack Ruby, real name Rubenstein, killed them? Why do you think he shot Oswald? Dude, Israel's got their hand behind everything. These sons of bitches send their tentacles out in every country, right? They go to your country and act like they're your citizens, but they're always loyal to Israel first. And they want the greater Israel project to the Nile, to the fucking Euphrates. And they want to take everybody's land and we're going to all be Goyim. They want to enslave us all. They run our country. Imagine that they're 2% of the population, but they control all the fucking media, all Hollywood.
So if they run our country, what makes you think they don't run Trump?
Of course they do. If he's there, he's
Yeah,
there.
they do. I mean, they kind of
He's
they
there.
got everybody by the balls. They got everybody in the Middle East by the balls because they are fucking badasses with their jets and their planes.
Well, they wouldn't be if we didn't. They'd be dead if we did not give them their weapons and money. They'd be run over in a week. The Arabs would run them over in a week. They would be mincemeat. All the illegal settlements.
Without the U.S., they would be gone.
Of course,
sure.
they could not.
I think there's also
That's true.
Tommy is not a crazy person. Maybe you should open your ears.
Well, why are we over there? Really, we want their money, right? We want their money. We want their land. What is it about the land? Why do they all want the land? There's something maybe good about my theory is that there's some sort of geomagnetic energy that comes out of there. It's like the Earth's sweet spot. It's just the sweet spot, like the Earth badge. It's geomagnetic energy that they want. It's a feel good zone or something, but then they all fight over the girl like Helen of Troy or something.
The Easter Bunny.
Israel is like, or what is? I'm gonna take a step back.
So I don't go so far as to thinking like Jews are like an Illuminati that's taken over the world, but the money aspect, that's a fact.
Wait a minute.
Fact
that you just admitted that they are these people.
No.
I don't say they control everything, just them, right? But they're a huge fucking power. Look what they just done. The wars in Ukraine, Zelensky.
So this is the
Palestinian land, Syria, and then we took out Assad. Assad was a good guy, but
they don't have to be extremely.
Fuck you.
They don't.
That was a good thing. That motherfucker needed to be taken out.
No, all right, that was a good thing. Now you have radical jihadists killing Christians.
No, fuck him.
Now you have radical jihadists taking over Syria instead of some like Saddam Hussein.
Guess what, motherfucker?
Yeah, a lot of it is just related to racism too.
That was there.
There's different bloodlines, and the bloodlines, they're racist. Their bone structure is different. Their genetics is different. So they're just trying to preserve their own bloodlines. It's like,
so that makes it okay. That makes
it's a blood feud.
Can't talk over each other.
And he has like these.
The emotional woman and this mental guy just keep talking over you. At least the homo and Mr. Chat know how to not talk over people sometimes, right? That's you, Travis.
No, because you know what? It's because you're the only one that's talking. Because you just yap.
No, I told the truth. I told the truth. And Bashar al-Assad.
But you're the only person that's talking, and so you just take over chat. You take over the panel. So you know what?
She's not mad at me this time.
Fucking talking.
No, that's you and Zach talking over each other. That's you and Zach, Melody. I know how to stop.
So the boss is talking now.
What about the subject of
He's the chief.
I'm not your chief. I'm not a Native American.
Yeah.
I'm Italian. You would call me a legate.
I got the soul of an Italian. I can grow better tomatoes than you. You buy fucking tomatoes. You eat canned tomatoes, boss.
I'm Italian. What nationality are you?
Go eat some fucking spaghetti. Get fucking Eddie.
What the fuck are we talking about right now?
I don't even know. I'm lost.
Dude,
I'm just saying I'm more Italian than that guy is. Really,
this happens enough on my channel. I come here to get away from this stupid shit.
Yeah, guys, let's not get into a pissing contest,
He's
please.
telling me I'm not Italian. How does he know me?
Who cares?
Hold on, let's get the tape measure out. Let's have a penis measuring competition.
You're telling me, no, Zach, you're telling me that I'm
it
not
seems like you're just trying to act like a bigger dick.
Guys, I'm telling you, if we're gonna devolve into
I'm
this,
Italian.
I'm gonna start masturbating to Tommy's voice right fucking
And I'm
now.
out of here if you
I just basically
Stop.
Well, tell
some
Zach,
of this is
this mental midget.
I need comic relief for this. You're being too harsh. Too harsh. You're not being a god.
Who here is sober right now?
Number one is forgiveness. You're not very forgiving.
No, anybody else?
No, you're not. Nah.
This has grown into a shit show.
This reminds me, I hate to say, but this reminds me of the kind of streams that I fucking run, and that's not a good thing.
Well, tell Zach to shape up. We'll have a good debate before Zach.
Just
No, because
I come here to get away from that shit. I came here for a reprieve.
I'm not drunk.
my
Have
God.
another drink, and don't. And I am Italian, pal. I don't care what nationality you are, but stop talking about Italians like that. Let's go on to some political discussion now. Okay, Trobs, when are you going to save your soul?
Now he's
That's
going
not
in.
political.
I'm only kidding. Well, then
You're-
think of the You're the principal. You're running the show, Coach Cheese.
Hold on. I don't control shit. I just let people
Yes,
talk
you
about
know
what
that's
they
wrong.
want.
You do
Now,
control shit. This is your
sometimes,
channel.
hold on. Sometimes I do, but only when shit gets way fucking out of hand.
But we just had this
I don't
mental
like-
midget
I don't like
screaming
this
that I wasn't Italian. I don't make tomatoes.
Look, you're trying to get it going again. You're calling him a mental
Dude.
midget. You didn't have to do that. You're
All right,
trying
then
to
it's
do
not a
it.
mental
This is
midget.
It
Tommy
wasn't a
talking
very
again?
good
Is
insult.
that how he talks?
Dude, I can't even hear myself think through all this fucking babble. Like, what the fuck are you guys babbling about?
I don't know, man. You gotta ask
This
Zach.
isn't even that bad. I was here before. This is easy. Trobes knows.
Trobes. Trobes. That's his name. That's funny.
That's when I'm
So
disrobing.
which one is talking the most? Is
This
that
is
Tommy?
easy.
No, it's
The
not
time
me.
that I was here,
Understood.
everybody just said, fuck you, shut up, fuck you. 6 people all talking over each other.
Yeah, that's not a good
because
thing.
that's what you're doing. So you need to stop and let other people talk as well. Because
So,
You don't need to
this is
fill
horrible.
every fucking dead air with like your voice. Like it's not-
Yeah,
It's
I
just
feel
the ego battle is what it
I
is.
feel like sometimes people have this awkward silence deal where like the moment there's a break, then it's like you have to say something or it's like weird and
No, you
no,
gotta-
it's
Yeah, no, they're like compelled to fill any dead air with like
yeah,
fucking babble.
it's okay. It's okay to have some fucking silence.
How do you
Like,
think it is when you're at a party? Yeah? You think everybody waits and takes their turn? No, everybody's in a group and they're
Yes, they
excited
do.
and then they jump in and they say this and they say that. That's how it is in real life.
Wayne. Party on, Garth. Get this guy out of here. We can have
No.
a discussion.
Most of the panels that I've
I'm
been
just
on
saying,
are
if you
not like
in
this
real life,
right
No,
now.
That's how it is.
give it. You know what? That would be perfect for my panel. You know, but I got here to get. Yeah.
I
Oh
don't
wow.
know this.
Where is your panel? How do I sub to your channel? I want to sub to
Oh
your
yeah. Let me give you.
Yeah,
I'll
drop
put it in
it.
the.
you can
I'll
post
put
it.
Nobody gives it to you. You have to take it.
I don't know what
Here,
that
yeah,
means.
no, this kind of shit happens on my panel all the fucking time, and it's kind of welcomed. You know, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I'll
But I
join
came
you.
here for like not to do that. That's
No.
all.
Yeah,
Well, I didn't come. You know me. I come on. I do. Me and
I don't
Trump
know.
both get
It seemed
along.
like you and Trobes were doing that for like 45 minutes in a more, you could tell that it was a back and forth banter, but it was just a little bit light.
No, we were
Yeah.
actually having a legit discussion.
yeah,
We weren't-
it was a
Before
legit
Zach
discussion.
came. Before Zach came. Let's just be honest. Before
No,
Zach.
I put my handle in the down there. It's JT. Yeah,
All right.
00002. But you gotta put the at. If you don't put the at, it's not gonna find the handle.
You just got my sub right here. I just
Okay,
subbed.
cool. Yeah, no, because I was probably maybe even gonna stream tonight. I don't know how it depends on how I feel. But yeah, it's more like the type of shit like just shooting the shit and all that. There's no real discussions about it.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of drama.
Oh my
I've
god.
been in the theater and the drama stuff. I've done these speeches for hundreds of people. You got to go off like a bomb so you can reach like the people in the back row.
You can do that.
This
Yeah.
guy thinks he's at a rave or something. This ain't a rave.
He's-
Put the
I'm
beard-
preparing for a speech.
a speech
This
on
is
what?
practice.
What you're running for?
This is
office?
practice.
Public drunk.
But yeah, if you want to get down like that, then hit my handle and subscribe to that, and you could do that.
Next time I'll have armor and a freaking sword and I'll run down from the hills and with a war cry. Roar! Boom!
Yeah, fuck yeah, you can do anything. You can do all of that shit.
This is the fucking Scottish Highland Games. Pow!
God bless
All right.
Scotland. Wonderful country.
That's what girls like. I'm just practicing to be an extra in one of those crazy
There's no
movies. I don't know what you
girls
guys
up
are up to.
Well, you do got Trobs. He's a girl. He might like you, so you might impress Trobs.
I don't know, guys. The girls like the guys.
Can we get him out of here? This
I'm
guy's
gonna do a time out here for
No,
myself.
man, I'm not
I
busting your
smell
balls, but
myself out.
you're bullshitting me right now if you're saying you're sober.
He's not sober.
No, I have brain damage from before when I drank too much, and now it's permanent
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
shit.
from a long time ago.
You
It
turn
is.
into
Probably.
Wait. So you are sober right now?
Yeah, I'm sober.
He just
Oh
drank-
shit!
don't
So your
drink.
brain. What? Did you almost die from alcohol poisoning? Like it fucked up your brain?
Look, he's swigging beer right now.
I drank a lot of beer. How do you think I ended up with a shitty fucking voice?
You just took a
Putting
swig.
way too much stuff in my. Oh, my ears are ringing.
You just took a swig
Somebody
of beer
talking about
2
me.
minutes ago. I seen you take a
Oh
swig.
man, I know somebody that this guy needs to meet. A guy named Tom.
He's just a drunk dude at night talking stupid. You can't have no political conversations with a toddler on here. I'll tell you that. Now,
I didn't do it.
fucking cute.
In
Trump.
my defense, I haven't done any name calling. I've just exerted myself forcefully, but I didn't. You guys, some people
What's his
are
name?
behind me.
I can't even see the names on anybody here. Who the fuck is here?
There he
Hold
is.
on.
There's that guy. He debates fucking Candace Owens.
I don't know, but I'm not doing. I'm not doing name calling. I'm just being like loud and kind of bossy and not might be rude.
Face, you moron! You took away a good conversation. You freak.
Yeah, so Zach, you're kind of just like consuming attention for no reason though. Like we're not. I don't.
He's like a little slut. That's what he is.
Okay, but no, I wanted to.
No, I'm getting ready to take on like 10 guys.
Yeah,
And you're like 2 guys. That's what I'm talking about. I gotta take on 100 guys or 1,000 guys.
Trump, do you mind lowering that guy's mic a little bit?
I'm talking about having a debate where you stand up and you can yeah. I've seen the direction of all of America.
He likes that talk.
Do you mind lowering his mic a little bit? It's like he's actually kind of loud.
You want me to
Turn it
turn
down
down?
a little
If
bit.
you want to ask me to turn it down because I'm
No,
loud.
because the sensitivity on the mic is not the same for everybody. So like some people are louder than other
Yeah, he
people.
looks like Ken Boy. I
got it down to
you're right.
50%.
Ken Boy,
Okay.
stop it.
I didn't mean to be blowing you away. I have a loud voice.
You blow nothing away, Ken Boy. All you're doing is drinking
Oh,
and
that's
talking
cool.
stupid
Go
back
ahead.
to the toddler. That's right.
He's just
Ian.
trying to bait me into an argument.
You've
That's
been
what's
arguing
happening.
with
The
everybody.
other
We
two
had a
guys
good
are trying to
political
bait me into
discussion
an
before
argument.
you came on here. Trobs, you
I'm
were the
not
worst
talking.
principal ever. If you were
I
my kid's
know.
principal, I would beat you
I
up.
know. I don't like fucking getting involved with shit unless I have to.
Well,
So
mute
let's-
him, you freak. You control
I
this
don't.
place.
I don't.
Hey,
I don't
on
get
one, let's
people-
be. This isn't it. This is his shit. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. It's
Right.
his shit.
All right, well, they
So-
can have a shit show.
I
so-
don't know
so
where
look.
people get off on the idea of like telling people how to run their shit, but like, yeah, let's be honest here.
Well,
It's not.
the only you're right. The only reason why I'm like kind of like partially apologizing is because I agree with you. I agree with you that we don't want a shit show. So let's try to get shit back on track here. Let's get
mute
into some like discussion. I'm not going to mute him, not unless
Now
it's
you're gonna
absolutely
stop the raping
necessary.
drunken toddler.
If I were to,
actually preparing to do public speaking. That's all. Public speaking is one of the biggest. It's the number one fear. People
Go
fear
celebrate.
public speaking more than snakes, spiders, and death.
Yeah, you're a fag.
There's
They do.
no way
And
you're
you're
sober right
scared
now.
too, boss. That's why you
No
keep on
fucking way you're sober right
hands at me.
Zach?
I can tell somebody was
You
scared.
destroyed a good political conversation about
You
Israel.
know, the Trobs, you know Zach like that? Like, you know him too well? Like,
not extremely well, but I don't think he's drunk right now. He's normally
No.
kind of he's sort. This is how he is.
Trob likes him. He wants to get laid later, Trobs. That's
I want
Oh,
to get
shit,
laid. I
okay.
want to get laid by you, Tommy, and it's
yeah,
gonna
I
happen.
don't like that kind of fucking talk,
It's
Trobs.
gonna
You
happen,
shouldn't go there.
baby. It's gonna happen.
You're a fucking devil, Trobs. You're
I'm
a
not.
demon
I'm
person.
not taking no for an answer, baby doll.
You eat cat shit, Trobs.
I know it's
You
beautiful.
eat cat shit all day long. How do you
I
see
don't
that?
even think he is gay. I
hold-
think
hold
he
on.
says
This
he's
is what
gay.
happens when you keep your
Intimidate.
gay love back on.
why did I picture him just rolling it around in fucking cat litter and then deep frying?
So now you've got me devolving. Okay,
Well, that's because you got Zach. the top.
Okay.
Ian,
Look,
I have
man.
not watched the DNC leadership forum yet.
The
My
cat.
cat box is actually clean right now, so you don't. It's not anything special.
You know what he wanted? What he really wants to see? He wants to see your toilet bowl.
Oh, thank God, no.
If I could do
Yeah.
that, then I would, but it would require me get on my phone and shit and leave the room, which I can't do. I have a webcam right now. It only goes so far.
He wants you to take the laptop. He wants you to take the laptop and walk it over there to the toilet and point
It's
it.
not a laptop. It's a desktop. I can't.
Oh,
I would. I would if I
You're,
could.
you're out of luck. Sorry, Ian. I tried.
But my toilet is not clean for sure. It's terrible right now. I'm not
At
gonna
least
lie.
he's not even lying to you right now.
Oh, no, look at him. He's totally South Carolina hillbilly white trash.
Exactly. Exactly.
No,
And Trump is going to hell. And I don't know why you derailed all this with this toddler drunk on here. You must be his Ken boy and fucking do nudes together and pictures.
you know what I do? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
You're good. Go ahead.
sometimes when they're really loud and they're just like talking nonsense, I'll just kind of turn them down to like a barely audible and just kind of.
I got him down to 50%, and I don't see for now that seems to be fine. And
Can we get back to the
he's
Israeli
backed off. So
Palestinian?
yeah, let's
No,
get
sometimes
back to what we were
sometimes I'll just
talking
let
about.
him ramble. Like Destiny, I've let her ramble on like in the background as background noise.
Chat friend Melody and Chops. Agree with
Yeah,
this.
yeah, that's
While
true.
the
Yeah, JT.
while everyone just
Sometimes you
talks,
have to do
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Do you agree with me on this? Have you seen how about the illegal settlements? Have you seen all those illegal settlements?
Yes.
You know they're settling Gaza right now. That old bitch, that mean old
Yep.
lady who did all those settlements in the West Bank. They're literally settling Gaza right now.
Yep.
They're stealing land from
what's
the Golan
happening?
Heights. And do you know they fund Hamas? They fund all these terrorist groups, right? In these countries, they'll fund ISIS and Hamas and all that shit. Then they'll let them wreak havoc and attack their own people and say, oh, look, we got to go wipe them out and take them all out and steal their land. Great Israel Project. It's terrible.
Well, so Hamas has been in control, yeah, of the Gaza Strip, but I mean, you know,
No, didn't you hear?
there's
We're gonna turn it all into a strip mall, and it's gonna be
I
great.
mean, so
That
there's
was-
like the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, but I don't understand like why Trump needs to take over the Gaza Strip. I mean, what
Because
is that going to
he loves the
accomplish?
heaves. Nothing. It will no, it's accomplished the Greater Israel Project. Just like he moved the capital from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, he is helping them fulfill the Greater Israel.
No,
No,
it's just
no,
about
no.
money. He wants to make money.
Dude,
That's it.
we could turn it into a resort, and it's
Yeah,
gonna be
exactly.
really great. Yeah, it's
I
gonna be
Just
think
really
about
great.
it's
making money.
disgusting.
That's it.
No, it's about
Yeah.
more than that. Yes, it's about making
So
money.
it's gonna be
Yeah, it is.
fantastic. It's gonna be great. You're gonna love it,
It's
and
going to be a little bit of
Yeah.
both. It's going to be making money and helping them fulfill the Greater
Yeah.
Israel Project and grab their land. When Trump said that, it made me sick. When I seen him talk like that with BB, I felt physically fucking sick.
By the way, I think he backtracked on it because public opinion went way fucking hardcore.
Of course it did.
against
We
him.
don't.
aren't we
Yeah, that
supposed
was
to?
fucked up.
Didn't he talk
Like,
about
why the fuck
absorbing
try to take over
Canada?
the fucking
He talked about
Palestinian?
absorbing Canada and Greenland too. It's like part of the United States. Like he's
Yeah, that
talking about all kinds of like out there shit right now. Like
Mhm.
Yeah, so in Greenland they have some outposts for like places that go to Russia and then back here. So they have like some military like outposts there, and they've been there like I don't know since the 1940s, I think. So I mean that could have something to do with why he wants to have political resurgence in Greenland. I know
Greenland.
that.
Who cares about Greenland?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I'm
that's
talking
what I'm
he's
saying.
talking about absorbing them into the United States. Like it's part
Here's
of
the
the
thing, though. If you, all right, that's not as bad as Gaza.
I'm gonna
You
go
can
look in
Gaza.
chat. I
You
wasn't.
can have every
Let's step out.
Islamic.
I wasn't able to
nutcase.
figure it out. I want to see
Jesus
what people are
Christ.
saying in
You can
chat.
have every Islamic nutcase trying to blow us up and attack.
All right, Zach.
Ooh, thank God.
Amen. Oh my God, Charlie. I think that's the only decent thing you've done.
No, he didn't do it. He didn't do it.
Oh,
He
figures.
left.
Fucking.
What do you guys say? Do you guys say thank God? Like what do atheists say? Like thank goodness.
An atheist, they thank the devil. They thank Satan.
Sometimes I use God as an atheist because it's a cultural thing. It's like what I've been programmed to say. A lot of
Right.
times
These
I'll
euphemisms. That's
say,
yeah.
sometimes I'll say God, and like I don't believe. It's just like a saying, you know.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure.
Well,
Now
fuck.
I don't say thank God. It depends on the saying. I'll use God in the same way that Christians do, as in like I don't know if you would consider that a blasphemy or not.
Yes, it is a blasphemy.
I don't know. Like these euphemisms. Like
Christians do it. They
Yeah, but you're not a Christian. You're a
it
sodomite.
doesn't matter. Like so if someone is being like using something in a certain way, you're saying that if you're a Christian, you're allowed to. If you're not, you what?
You shouldn't. No, you shouldn't be using our Lord and Savior. You shouldn't be talking about.
But it shouldn't matter whether whether it's right or wrong. Shouldn't be dependent on whether you're an atheist or a theist. Like it's if it's wrong,
what do
it's
you mean
wrong.
a theist? What's a theist? An
A
atheist
theist is a
believes in
person that believes.
someone that believes in God.
Yes, it's that simple. It's a
But you know, the crazy part about that is,
I'm a
it's like,
witch.
then you start getting into pantheism, and then you start asking, what is God, and the whole
yeah,
nature of that.
it's
God
complicated.
is real. Christ is king, and
No,
God
no, 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 I agree with
Okay,
you, dude.
so that would be agnostic.
is Christ.
No, well, yeah, because people
What
say
is
God
it?
or no God, but nobody's asking what is God. What does that mean?
Yeah, that's where you kind of have to have that discussion if we even get into it, and it
I
becomes
don't even know. I don't
Well,
know.
complicated.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you need to establish what you're talking about before you can say it does or doesn't exist. Like, what are you even talking about exists? Like, what is
That is
God?
God is
Right.
everything. He made everything. He's in us. He's
Well,
everywhere. He's our Lord and Savior. He made the planet, made the
well, the
atmosphere.
point is, people need to be clear about what they're talking about when they say God. Like, like, I think it needs
Tribes
to
is
be agreed
screaming
on. What people
blasphemy. Tribes being a blasphemer. He's blaspheming.
No, point is, when people are arguing for or against something, that the definitions of things need to be clearly established between the parties. That's all I'm saying,
Mhm.
regardless of what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I
That's all.
believe
So
in
when
God.
you talk about the debate of like God or no God, which is like the whole atheist thing, you really need to be asking what is God? Like, that you're define, like, you have to define God for first. That's all
Yeah,
I'm saying.
semantics matter, and people hate it, but you have to start with that if you don't want to be talking past one another, because you could be talking about two different things.
Right. You need to both establish what you're talking about first. For any, if there's a discussion being had about anything.
Generally, and I hope I don't offend anyone, I reserve like semantics for people that I'm engaging as an interlocutor in an actual debate format, and I kind of have to take you seriously before I'll do that. Now, if a person makes the statement that Tommy made that God is everything, I don't take you seriously, and I'm not going to have that discussion with you because I think it's going to be a waste of time. I'm not trying to offend anyone, but that's
But he is clearly establishing a definition, at least. He's
yes,
telling
yeah,
you
yeah,
what
yes,
is.
absolutely, absolutely. I'll give him that, but it's
Yeah.
like, uh,
No, I get it. You're saying based on your definition, it's not worth arguing to me. But
yeah,
at least he's giving one, is my point.
right, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so once again, I'm going to go what Michael Smith Ian says. Just go with the number one argument, Tribes' playbook. You're stupid because you disagree with me.
No, he's just saying it's not worth everything. He says it depends on if it's worth arguing. And when you're saying something like, he's saying, like, if you're saying God's everything, he doesn't
It's
feel like there's really
it's
something
yeah,
he
yeah.
wants to argue about.
I
It's
got
kind
you. I see what you're
of
saying. He don't
it's
believe in it. I do. So what's the
no,
point?
no, 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 no. It's kind of circular. Your reasoning for thinking it in the first place, and your definition is kind of
No, it's not.
self-regulated.
I believe
Like
in
Well,
God. You
and I
don't.
think we got into this earlier on my panel at a certain point, and I think it comes back to like, what is God, right? So I think from Traub's point of view, and you can correct me if I'm saying something wrong, but I think what he believes is going on with our existence is that everything here is like self-existent, which means it doesn't need any outside reason or cause to exist. It just exists always. So in a
yes,
sense, like, the universe is eternal. What we call the universe is like a creation. He's saying it always exists. So it's kind of like replacing the idea of a creator, and saying it doesn't need that because it always existed.
And yes,
But
that's why God's always existed.
right. So what you're saying is that this universe did not always exist. It was created by something that did always exist.
God.
It's outside of universe, which is what you're calling God. He's
Yeah.
saying that outside source of that outside cause isn't necessary because he thinks that this universe that we live in, always existed. No need for God. Is that right?
Yes, I
that
get
is
it.
correct.
And he also inhales cat feces. In
Right
his
now,
room.
the truth is neither one can be proven right or wrong because we don't know.
It's faith. It's faith. I have faith. It's a faith.
Right, and he's inclined to believe that there's no need for that. So, and that's his personal inclination, and even he would say he doesn't fully know, I guess, why. I don't know.
Yep, I would not make the claim that I have proof of my claim. I would, however, make the claim that I have evidence to back my claim. And you might say the same thing for your view.
Yes,
So,
Fatima.
yeah. So when it comes to in the way you laid it out, I don't see that it's going to be productive to have a debate on it because you're going to do what you just
I
did.
agree. And
Like
you're going to do what you just did.
What did I just do? Be logical?
You do. Everybody's wrong because they
Well,
agree.
what he's saying is there's
That's not
reasons
what
to
I
believe.
said.
What he's saying is that there's reasons to believe what he believes, and there's reasons to believe what you believe. But ultimately, neither one can be proven. So at the end of the day, you might have your reasons for believing that there's an outside source, He has his reasons for believing that that's not necessary.
So
But at the end of the
let
day,
me encapsulate it better. Like, so
he
instead
did
of
a great job
saying,
of it.
instead of saying like, I think you're stupid or anything, and that's not exactly what I said anyway, but I feel that people took it that way. So let me put it this way. I gauge based on your words the extent at which you're open. And when I say open, your ability to look outside of your own view. And I don't believe that some people have a capacity to think outside of their own view. So I won't engage with them because it's a complete waste of time. That's basically what I'm saying.
yeah, he's saying you wouldn't understand his point of view and you wouldn't bother to entertain him.
And he wouldn't
But what
understand.
I'm saying is, I think you do understand his point of view. He's saying that there's no need for a God because this place already it always existed. But you're saying it didn't. Yeah, it didn't always exist.
Yeah, I understand what he's saying, but I just disagree with him totally.
We get that, and that's what I'm saying is we should just avoid it. If it's just you and I, we shouldn't talk about the topic because it's going to just be, no, that's bullshit. And then like you're going to appeal to an ad hominem like you did a moment ago. You tried to make the claim that I'm wrong because I inhale cat feces.
It makes you crazy because listen, if you live in a room with cat feces,
maybe he's not running on all cylinders. You know, all that ammonia and cat feces.
That's what I'm saying. It might make him a little off. So that's what I'm saying. Trob's a little crazy.
So this is my point. This is my
How long have you
point.
had that cat? How long have you had the cat?
Hold on, before we get kind of dragged off, I want to make my point first.
Well,
let him make his point. Let him say his point, and then you can.
The reason this is called an ad hominem is because you're using an emotional appeal to detract from the actual substance of the issue, which is is there a God or is there not? Whether or not there's feces in a cat box is irrelevant.
No, it's not. No, that
Look,
puts out pneumonia and puts out other things in the air that could mess up your brain and fuck with you, dude.
He's trolling as hard as fuck right now, but
there's no evidence for that claim.
Okay. Let's remove the formal debate style right now. He's basically insulting you because it's funny.
But that's my point. That's my point. That's why I don't take it seriously.
No, I am legitimately saying I'm not trying to insult you. That if you have feces in your room, for how many years have you had the cat there?
You're fucking.
How many years have you had the cat?
What?
How many years have you had the cat?
I have numerous cats.
How long have you had the cat?
It's not a cat. I have
a kitty litter box in your room. How long have you been?
Okay. So you got to multiply the cat time the years he's had them, and then you know how well.
Look, I deal in fostering cats that are in need, and I get constantly different cats.
Okay.
For how long are you saying? For how many years has there been cats constantly in and out?
About 2 years.
More than that. Oh, yeah. All right. For 2 years, we'll go with 2 years. All right. For 2 years, you've had a kitty litter box sleeping right next to you. You don't think that's affected you mentally?
So, hold on. Hold on. You're making assumptions here.
No, that's a legitimate assumption.
Why's it got to be right next to his bed? How do you know
that? Exactly. So one, it hasn't been right next to my bed other than like maybe a few months. And two, there's no evidence to suggest that having a litter box near my bed in any way affects my ability to reason.
Yes, it does. It affects.
Are we arguing about cat shit and formal debate rhetoric right now?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
And what about health and all that? Feces, where that can.
Look, man,
you're making assumptions. There's
no.
You
gotta match the troll. You gotta match the troll's energy, man. He's not trying to have a formal debate with you.
Well, I don't do that. So I just show why it's illogical, and that's it. Like,
well, no, that's
I
not.
don't
It is
engage.
logical.
I don't engage in
Trobs might be a little crazy because Trob has been sleeping next to a kitty litter box for 2 years, feeling that, so he might be off on what he's saying. That's a
but you know what? The box was in the other room, so unfortunately, his brain was just like this already.
I did see. There's
nothing we can do.
Right next to his bed with some really big hankies in there. Okay.
No, he was just born fucked up.
You've got a mountain lion over there. You got a tiger, Trobs, Joe Exotic. What's going on, Trobs?
No, right now I don't have any cats, unfortunately, other than my main cat. But that cat doesn't stay in here with me because I have to keep them separated.
Why?
Because I oftentimes get cats. My specialty is ringworm. And it's highly contagious to other cats, and I don't want my cat getting a ringworm.
Why did you let the ringworm cat in the house then? I don't get it. I'd take it to the vet.
Well, that's the whole purpose of fostering is they can't adopt these cats, so there's something wrong with them.
Yeah, I foster
So
dogs, so I know about
okay,
it.
so I take them in to get them clear of ringworm or whatever the problem is, so that then they can be adopted.
Gotcha.
That's why I have them.
Well, that's an admirable thing. I will say that's a good thing that you do, Trobs. Take care of
You
them.
guys finding common ground here. I thought he was evil. I thought he was an evil, demonic sodomite.
Well,
Like,
he is. He's an evil
Buddy-
sodomite that will go to hell.
I am
He
still
did
an
help
evil
a couple-
sodomite.
He did help a couple of cats along the way, and maybe before he dies and he repents and begs God for forgiveness and that he's sorry.
maybe God will remember the cat and be like, let him slide. You think?
No,
Maybe?
I don't think so. No, not when it comes to me and the things that Trobs. The only things I agree with Trobs on is the Israel stuff. Everything else on it.
So I kind of wanted to touch
agree.
back, and I don't want to be a dead horse, but I kind of wanted to touch back because it's a big deal to Rain. And I don't know if you know Rain, my girlfriend. She's Hispanic, legal of course, but
What kind of
obviously it affects a lot of this stuff is affecting the Hispanic community here. There's just no way around it, and that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted to talk about a little bit from their point of view because I understand from the American point of view. We're Americans,
Yeah.
you know. We're and I understand nationalists. We're running a country. We're not running a fucking, a shelter. I get
Yeah, I
that.
got some, I've dated some half Cuban, half Italian girls before, but never a pure Hispanic or mestizo. And yes, I do feel for some of them, knowing that their cousins are going to get deported or whatever. But maybe they shouldn't have broke the law and came over here. You know, that's my thing. Come here
But
legally the right way.
Do you think that they should be spoken about and treated as the same level of criminal as, say, like a violent offender or somebody with a violent criminal record or history?
What do you mean, like treated or deported? What do you mean, like?
I should say, like, yeah, deported, because couldn't they give these people the opportunity to become legal, the ones that are already here?
No, because they've already broke that law. So I don't care how nice and how great the little Spanish dude is, a Spanish girl. I'm sure they're wonderful. They have to go home if you came here illegally. I'm sorry.
And this goes back to why I bring up racism and people.
Oh, you're always
hold on. I'm making a point here. The reason why I go to racism is because it's just using Occam's razor. It's the most likely, because we go into criminality and like violent crime and stuff, and then we all agree.
Racist.
Hold on, and I'm making the point. So then we all agree, but then you show that it's not about that. Because it's about like they came into the country illegally, which by the way is not a crime. It's actually it's a civil offense. It's not a crime.
It's a crime.
It's not a criminal offense. You're making shit up. So this is my point. Then you focus on that, which shows that that's not what this is about. So
yes,
then,
it is. Anybody coming here from I don't care where you come from. If you sneak over the border illegally, I don't care if you're Italian, Trobs. You sneak over the border illegally, you gotta go. I'll give you.
Tommy, don't you think our government had a hand in letting them in here?
That does. Yes, they did. Of course they did.
Be honest here. Don't you think they also had a hand in incentivizing it for them by creating sanctuary cities where they can get money for being here?
1,000,000%. I couldn't agree with you more, but that still don't make
right.
it.
But so now we suddenly treat them like criminals now for taking advantage of what we gave them.
Listen, you ignorant piece of shit.
Oh, well, look at this emotional woman. Why is the emotional woman going to call people pieces of shit?
I'm not emotional. I just see you
You're
for
very
what you are,
emotional.
and you're a fucking racist.
How am I a racist?
Basically, Trobs tried to explain it. I don't know if we got through that explanation.
How am I a racist?
Well, he kept interrupting.
I wanted you to finish letting Rain give Trobs a second to explain it, because I know he's agreeing with you, but I wanted him to finish saying, because he didn't get a chance to finish saying
what
basically why it's racist.
Because it's racist because through this is called deductive reasoning. Someone claims.
Stop interrupting him. Damn. Stop interrupting him. Let him talk. Let him talk.
Someone makes a claim and tells you why they believe what they do on a particular stance, right? In this case, it's immigration. So what you do is you take their words at face value, and you can go, hey, that's not true because of A, B, C. And that's what you do when you're trying to figure out what someone actually believes. I go to racism because the claim that you make that it's about violent immigrants and everything does not hold up to scrutiny because it's bullshit. It's not true.
How's it bullshit?
The statistics disprove
I
that
just
there's
said
this
if you come
huge-
over this country illegally, no matter what
Let
color
him
you are, you
talk.
should be
Let him
deported.
finish.
It takes him a year, woman. Go make me a
Let
sandwich.
him finish.
So the
bitch.
point that I was making is then
Your
you
body, my
change.
choice.
You're changing.
Your
That is
body,
fucked up.
my choice.
Shut your Guido ass up and
You're
listen.
changing
my
the
choice.
goalposts from
Right.
violent
He is changing the
criminals,
goalpost. Yeah.
violent criminals to, oh, you crossed the border, therefore you're a criminal, which is, by the way, factually
you're a
incorrect.
criminal.
It's a civil offense.
It's still a crime.
Your mom's a
Dom.
criminal. Your mom's a criminal.
I
bitch.
Right. There's a big difference between civil and violent crimes.
I bet
That's
you're
why
ugly as
men-
fuck
let's put it
too.
this
I
way.
bet you're
At
ugly
least
as
men
fuck and
can
bald
disagree.
too.
At
Fucking
least
ugly
men
ass bitch.
without throwing ad hominems. Do it. The women can't do it.
Let's
Let
get
him
back
finish.
on track.
Let him finish.
Yeah,
So
let Trump say what he's saying.
Essentially, what I'm trying to say here is you have to ask yourself when someone changes the goalpost to try to make
How do I
like
change
a
the goalpost?
because I just explained
Shut
because
the
you
fuck
should-
up and
you
listen.
Shut up,
you start
You
with
shut up.
like
You
violent.
keep talking.
You
You
fucking
start with like
e-girl.
violent
I would have muted
criminals.
your ass a long
Shut
time
up,
ago.
e-girl. Shut up, e-girl.
Oh, I'm an e-girl.
Well,
Yeah, right.
I essentially already made my point, and so like
And I disagree with you.
Basically, what he's saying is there's a strong difference between civil crimes and violent crimes,
still
and
a crime.
to treat a whole population as if they committed violent crimes.
Right, true, but it's still a crime, dude. Coming
Let
over the
Trumps
border-
talk. It's his panel.
Well, that's me. Now I'm
You
talking.
can't talk.
Yeah.
It was him talking. What's the problem? She didn't know what she's
Let
talking.
It was
Trumps
actually
talking
me.
because
Yeah, it
you
was
keep
him talking,
interrupting
e-girl,
with your fucking
e-girl.
ignorant ass.
No, what I'm saying is to treat a whole population who we let in, by the way, as if they're violent criminals is disingenuous. And to support that and say that they are, and that's why you want them gone, is also disingenuous. And what he's saying is the only thing that can be derived or interpreted from something
I
like that.
wouldn't say the only thing, but I would say that's the most logical explanation
Right.
of why
It
you're doing that.
Your mom's obese, Ian.
Well, he's saying that the only, the reason. Yeah, the only thing that can basically be derived from this would be racist implications, basically.
Yeah, you have seen me, bitch.
That's the most likely, in my opinion, that's the most
it
likely
is
reason.
the most likely.
Even when you
It's
guys
a prejudice
heard
of some
me,
sort, because otherwise you wouldn't have to say, you wouldn't have to lie and say that they're all violent criminals.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to change the goalposts.
Listen, I said I'm not saying they're all violent criminals, but if you come over that border, you are breaking the law. You should be deported. A country must have laws. The e-girl put.
Okay, well, you should be deported to fucking Italy or whatever the
And
fuck.
I agree. We are running, and see, that's the problem here. We are running a country. I understand. I agree with that. And sometimes we got to do shit that's necessary. Basically, what he's talking about doing here, and the reason he wants to do
your
this,
ancestors should have been deported a long time ago
what
from Italy or
Trump
wherever
is
the
trying
fuck
to
you
do,
fucking come from, you fucking bitch.
what Trump is trying to do, and let's get back to the actual point here. What he's trying to do is he's trying to force American jobs by basically cutting off the possibility of outsourcing.
Yeah, I'm 400 pounds, guys. Clearly.
Yeah, amen, Ian. Yeah, let's just let everybody in with no consequence. That's why you're all being displaced. I'm out of here. That e-girl, you're a fat bitch.
No,
I'm
she's
a
neither.
fat bitch. Yeah, look at me. I'm a fat bitch.
No,
so this here is what we call a straw man. You're trying to change my argument to make it easier to defeat. I did not make the claim that every single person that has a problem with immigration is racist. I made the claim that specifically Tommy is more than likely a racist because the logical premises that he set forth for why he believes what he believes does not add up, right? It's very simple. Like I believe it's more likely than not that he's racist.
Look, I live with Rain. I see her every day. She doesn't have to show herself, especially to people like you. You don't need to validate or
you don't
prove anything to anybody here.
No reason for all that.
No, but the point is,
I'm not 400 pounds. I'm not 400 pounds like they claim.
No, you're definitely not 400 pounds. But let me to the point that I was trying to make is that you wouldn't have to say that the reason is because you think they're all criminals. Well, I guess it's because what he's calling criminals basically just being here makes them a criminal.
Yes, but the problem is he's changing the goalposts. He starts by saying, "Look, we're just looking to get rid of people who are violent rapists and everything." And then again, nobody disagrees with that. But
that was his initial argument. That was the initial argument. Then he changed it to they're all criminals for being here.
And he's doing it on purpose to try to I think to defend his ego so that he feels like he's not a bad person for these views when he obviously is.
He's prejudiced against Hispanics, basically.
Right. I never disagreed with getting rid of violent criminals.
Right. Exactly. And the thing is, but what he's trying to do, and the problem is that they're conflating the civil crime of being here undocumented with basically people who have violent crime criminal records. Totally different thing. That's what they're conflating. And they're doing that on purpose to create this kind of civil unrest and shit. And they're bolstering it with like social media and shit like that. They're basically pushing out a whole propaganda fucking thing. But what Trump is actually trying to do is, whether he considers them criminals or not, what he's doing is he's trying to force American jobs by mass deportation and like super hard tariffs on countries to basically keep American jobs from either being taken by immigrants or outsourced. And that's what he's trying to do. And it has nothing to do with people being fucking violent criminals or not. It really has nothing to do with it. It's about trying to basically fix what he perceives to be the problems with this country. And I would say,
Melody, you can talk now. I got rid of the fucking racist.
No, Melody couldn't get a word in edgewise. She tried.
That is true.
Look at him. He just ran. He couldn't take it.
And I understand we are running a country. I get that. But you also got to understand, you got to look from the big picture too. The same motherfuckers, the same government that let them in is now saying that they're a problem. It's like, that's...
Well, this is my issue. America is known that, like, to me, I would argue the biggest thing we are. What do you see under the Statue of Liberty? Give us your poor, like, our whole fucking thing is being a melting pot and fucking being like helping people that are like refugees and shit. That is who we are. And like you constantly, like, even the right, Donald Trump will talk about how great America is. Like, come over, we're the best and all this. And then people come over because they're attracted to the idea. And then you go, get the fuck out. To me, that's fun.
Right. That's the point is, we let them in and now we're trying to conflate them with like violent criminals. Like, that's fucking weird. And seems intentional.
That's the biggest, and the biggest problem is if you have to lie to make your case, you don't have an argument. And they do.
Right, they're doing that to appeal to the masses, to appeal to their emotion because they know it works. But there's a reason you have to ask yourself, why are they fucking doing that? And it's not good. Like,
this is more straw manning, by the way. I never said that I'm for an open border.
No, I am for closed borders. Don't fucking misinterpret what I'm saying. But what I'm talking about is a little bit more nuanced than just open or closed borders. But I don't expect fucking simple-minded people to understand what I'm really saying.
No, they don't understand. All they understand is
they don't want to understand.
Being up Trump's ass.
Yeah, it's a little more nuanced than the shit that you're fucking spoon-fed on fucking whatever fucking news source you're watching.
Fox News, probably.
Whatever. I don't know what you're watching. I mean, you could be reading articles. I don't fucking know anymore. I really don't even. I mean, I at this point, I just kind of scan articles at this point from different news sources to get an idea of what's going on. But it's all bullshit to me.
Yeah. Come on up, Ian. I'm tired of responding to text. Come on up.
He's too much of a coward.
There's no such thing as a civil crime. We'll call it a non-violent crime then. If you prefer to call it a non-violent crime, because that's what we're really differentiating between violent crimes and non-violent crimes. He just happened to use the word civil crime, I think. But if you don't like that word, replace it with non-violent crime, because that's what we're talking about. To treat a whole population who we let in as if they were violent criminals all of a sudden, that's fucking weird. I understand that they shouldn't be here, but let's not say it's because they're violent criminals. Be honest. Say it's because you don't fucking want them here. You want to boost. You want the economy to be. Just say you want the economy to be American, whatever. But
Yeah, then you're kind of showing your cards, which is why they do this game where they act like it's not about what it really is about. And
Just
that's
say
It would
you're
be more honest
racist.
to say that you
Just
want
say you're
jobs to go to
racist.
Americans if for
Mhm.
fair wages. That would actually be fucking honest, and you would have an actual reason to say that.
So hold
Because
on, I disagree, because if they said that, they would have to show support that, for instance, that this lie that's constant, like there's two big lies. One, the great replacement theory, racist bullshit that like they're trying to get rid of white people, which is stupid. And then the second one is they're taking our jobs.
I wasn't even touching the first one. That's out there. But
Okay, right.
yeah. Let's talk about I'm talking about more the economy, the jobs that people don't want to do here. That they're saying that they don't want, and obviously we don't want to outsource them because of the tariffs, right? So we want to make people do these menial jobs, and we're going to basically have to increase. They're going to have to be unionized. They're going to have to increase working conditions to like legal working conditions. They're going to have to pay them legal wages and shit. And a whole overhaul of shit that they wouldn't have to do if they could outsource it. But basically, he's trying to cut them off from doing that with the tariffs, and he's trying to cut out the illegal shit with the mass deportation to force Americans to do these jobs that really they don't want to do, but they'll be paid like a fair wage.
Yeah. So,
but they would be more incentive. They'd be more inclined to do it for fair wages in fair working conditions.
True, but in order to make it quote fair, they would have to pay. Well, legal, yes, they would have to pay more, which means all of our products are going to jump drastically in price, which is why illegal immigrants bolsters the economy.
However, if it was a self-sustained economy, eventually it would even out, where we're doing so well that the dollar would be doing so well, in theory.
In theory. So I agree that's what Trump thinks. I disagree that that's what will happen.
Well, it's in theory it should, but how plausible is this to actually do this? It's pretty fucking extreme. I mean, I get what he's saying and the reasoning is sound, but how fucking plausible is this, logistically speaking, to get rid of all those people and impose these tariffs? Like, I'm not even looking at the fucking comment section right now.
So, well, sometimes when I laugh, that's why, because I'm reading a comment.
Yeah, I figured that, and that's why I was like, okay, maybe I should comment.
Well,
Tommy, the incel left.
So I have to pop them up on the screen. Well, I don't have to, but I do. So I read them when I do that, even if I don't want to. Like I read relatively quickly, so I can't help it. Like when I click it, I read it.
Yeah, I do the same thing when I'm streaming. It's just when I'm not, I really don't look at it.
Oh, right. I don't blame you.
It makes it easier. No, when you're watching a stream, for sure, you're scanning everything. I do.
The Reagan line is a lefty talking point.
And no, I get what Trump is trying to do. It's just so fucking extreme, and I just don't believe in it because I know, regardless of the current administration, I don't believe that the country is really run by these people. I think they're fucking figureheads. I'm thinking from a totally different point of view than most of these people probably would. So I don't blame them for that. They don't really get where I'm coming from. I wouldn't expect anybody to agree with it. But yeah, I don't. I see these people that I don't even think they're voted in. I think they're probably figureheads. And I think that all this shit happens here. Yeah, basically, I already believe in what they would consider like an international deep state. And I think I think that's already more than likely happening already. But again, that's more fringe shit that I wouldn't really discuss here.
Well, I think that votes do matter and that they are voted in, but we agree on the substance. So I think that it doesn't really matter that they're voted in because they're bought off by corporate interests anyway.
Yeah, lobbyists and shit.
So in the end, it becomes the same damn thing. It doesn't matter.
Basically, yeah, it's just I'm getting to the gist of it, but the lobbyists. Basically anything can be bought. It's the problem, and manipulated, and controlled with money through lobbying, which is basically more or less what I'm talking about. But I think I'm taking it a step a little bit further.
Yeah, you are. you're taking another step, which is fine. I'm
I'm
I
extrapolating
don't
to what I think to be going on, and I don't agree. I wouldn't necessarily say that people should agree with that.
right, and I wouldn't say that it's just absolutely crazy or anything, but I guess
It can't be proven is the
yeah,
problem with it.
I don't have enough evidence for me personally to jump that.
No, there's not enough. Is the problem.
JT never beats around the bush.
I'm not beating around the bush on anything. I understand both points of view, but what I'm saying is I don't believe the same country that fucking incentivized them to come here suddenly wants to fucking get rid of them all. I think that it's a little more nuanced than that. I think there's something else going on.
Well, this is my issue, and obviously this is my subjective opinion, but Trump has these ideas, right? Like tariffs in order to make things more evened out through trade, like getting the immigration and everything. My issue is that this is a problem with Americans in general. You like someone for reasons that just aren't logical. Like he's a businessman. For one, he's not even a good businessman. He bankrupted 4 times. That's a fact. It's like having a fucking doctor that doesn't have a doctorate that's like actually like a dentist or something or anything, like a masseuse, and then you like make them your doctor. Why would you do that? Like he has no history in politics. He knows nothing about anything. And people like that for some reason. It's like they think they can trust him more because he's not a politician. I think that's what it is, if I try to look at it from their point of view. But he's proven he lies more than any politician by far. So like why? I don't understand it. Why do people just take what he says as if he knows what he's talking about? He doesn't.
I on that I really can't speak on him. I think people mostly like his rhetoric and they like his the policies that he's talking about, but the policies he's talking about putting in place are so extreme. Like, and I mean, like, as far as like, are they feasible? How logistically, how the fuck are we supposed to get rid of that many illegals? Like
that's where I go back to like why I can't understand, because he's stupid. He don't know what he's doing. He has these crazy ideas like tariffs. Every economist in the fucking country immediately was like, "Hey guys, this is stupid."
Well, they know short term, it's gonna fucking increase the costs of shit. They know this.
It depends on if he plans on keeping the tariffs. It's not just short term. As long as those tariffs are in place, they're going to circumvent the additional charge by passing it on to the consumers. They always do.
Right, and that's naturally going to happen, obviously, because the shit's not going to be exported without.
So the question is,
so what
are
the
you
idea
doing?
is how? Right. Yeah, what's the idea is that we force again all that shit to be done here instead of being exported.
Right. So another problem with that is many of the things we can't do.
And those are the things that I think he would not be imposing tariffs. The thing is, you're doing it as a whole country, but I think certain tariffs are being imposed on certain export, like imports. It's not everything. I don't think. I'd have to look at it in depth. I haven't seen it, but it's not. They're imposing it on certain goods, basically, from what I can tell. It's not everything. Like, and it's things that they want that they know we could do here or produce here. Is the kind of good. That's kind of what he's trying to do. I don't disagree.
Right. No, I agree. That's what he's trying to do. I just think he's being retarded in how he's implementing it.
It's only time can tell. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't. It doesn't seem feasible to me. The kind of shit he's talking about. Like, you're talking about absorbing fucking Canada. The shit he's talking about is so grandiose. I'm not saying it sounds bad. It just sounds impossible to do. Like. In my opinion, like it doesn't sound feasible.
Well, even if you're going to make it happen, it's not going to happen all at once like he's trying.
In a 4-year term, within a fucking 4-year span, but I think they just passed something that like they could do a double term if it's not consecutive. So it's like it's almost like that was made for Trump. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. It's basically, yeah. So given 8 years, he could potentially do this shit. But in 4 years, I don't think so. 8 years, maybe.
Well,
That's
I'm going
different.
even further than that. It's not even about 4 years. He's trying to like immediately, the moment he gets in office, trying to like do everything.
You can't deport. I mean, it's going to take time.
Even if, like when.
And
can I tell? I'm popping in here. Check it out. I went to the Donald Trump chat room, 16K. And they were all like, it was almost like church, and everybody was saying good chats about Donald Trump, and it was just insane. But you know what I did? All of a sudden, I just jumped. You know what I did? I fucking threw a monkey wrench in that shit and grinded it right to a halt. Do you know how what was it? Drill, baby, drill. And I says, burn, baby, burn. Right from the get-go. And then it was boom, 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 boom. And then all of a sudden, the chat just starts going, dude. And then, you know, when it gets awkward, and then they're like, oh, fuck. Is he with us or is he against us?
I don't know.
Then all of a sudden, the whole thing went, and then it just stopped with my chat. And they were like, oh, fuck. He doesn't like us. And then, I don't know, I think they kicked me out 1 minute, but I got like 7 or 8 good chats and 1,600. Boom. So,
well, Trump seems to.
Where, if you're taking on 1,600 chatters,
hold on. I want to address chat real quick because this is hilarious. This is projection when someone says you're in a cult, because actual cult experts have like shown in depth why MAGA people are literally cult members. They have an inability to see reality. They take words. It's like you have a narcissist, and this is how all cults work. It always starts with a narcissist, a malignant narcissist, and he brainwashes them, and then you get to a point where you can't even see outside of anything that he claims. Like, you have no evidence for your claim. I have plenty of evidence for mine. Like,
yeah, but what about
you lost?
The thing about Trump is he
I
seems
agree.
like,
It is a cult. I agree with Trobs. It is a cult.
But it's not even about. It's not even about an opinion.
I would say his opposition and the ones who are pro, like, I'd say they both tend to have their own cult like qualities to them. If you look, honestly, I think the whole bipartisan system at this point is almost cult like.
Well, you could. I would disagree if you're trying to say that they're equal. They're not equal. Like
a cult of ideas, and I'm not saying equal. They're very different.
Okay,
but
sure.
In the way that they view each other is almost like the other side.
It's the Nordic religions, or not Nordic, but it's the Esperanto languages. If you know what Esperanto is, it's a way of being and talking where you have consonant. It's a Germanic way of talking that where it's psh, 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 and you build up pressure with the consonants, and then pow, it spits out like kind of like holding your finger on a garden hose, and you build the pressure, and then pow, do what I say.
I'm sorry, I don't know
That's what it is, and there's a whole different kind of style.
No clue.
Not
the slightest clue what you're talking about. You know what he's talking about?
Not completely.
Look it up.
Esperanto.
It's a way of being and talking. You were talking about the Godheads. Well, it's a communication style. When we're talking,
are you responding to the chat or to me?
To you, to the cult following. What is a cult? But how a preacher talks, isn't it? Because you're saying he's like a preacher, right? He acts like a money dick preacher for a Republican.
Well, I would say anything that's garnering like
his way of, he takes on a masculine role where he just acts offensive. And then in the other style, it's more kind of like the Obama, the way the Democrats are. They act more like a lady. They're not going to act like they're going to inflict harm on you, but later on they might do something deceptively behind.
I don't know. He seems to garner like extreme devotion as well as extreme opposition. Like he's a very
different types of preaching style. Some people think that having a mean preacher that just is like that. Who's that Jordan Peterson guy? That's a self-help guy. You know, he just harps on you, and he just is, or like Joyce Myers, these religious people. There's a certain, if you listen to like the different religious stations, you'll hear it's just a different. Some people want to have a mean preacher, and some people want to have a more nice preacher, or kind of a gray zone. And so it has a duality between masculine and feminine, and he's on the way masculine, and that's why we don't like him, because he's too masculine, but they're worshiping that father energy. That's the mean dad who's the military leader.
What would you? How would
The
you
mean
describe
dad
your
who's the military leader is how we got this country. That's what they're saying, and that's what they believe in.
Did you have issues with your father?
George Washington. What did he do? He was a military guy. He rode around in a horse and he killed people in groups of people.
What's your name? Is this Zach still?
That's Zach.
I'm just
Zach,
saying
did you have did you have a solid relationship with your father?
I didn't hear you.
I know that's a little left field, but how was your relationship with your father, man?
Not great at the moment.
No? That sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. But what was I gonna say?
I didn't mean to blow you guys away, but like I don't know. It just seems like people were trying to kill me. I almost died. A lot of bad stuff, and I'm just getting real kind of sometimes I'm trying not holding back a lot of aggression sometimes.
Have you done a lot of drugs, man?
Nah, I just do weed and no, it's just soft drugs, just weed,
nothing hardcore.
I do tobacco.
Oh, okay, so nothing really hardcore.
I've always been like this since I've been about 5 years old. There's probably been a lot of different accidents that contributed to this as well. Just slam stuff like that.
No, I didn't mean to get personal with you. I was just curious.
Oh no, that's fine.
Your beliefs, like how would you describe
people.
your beliefs, man? Like, are you religious or non-religious or undecided?
Yeah. Well, man, you get with the Catholicism, and the Catholics, it can be a real combo of abuse. And
you were raised Catholic?
They're abusers and molesters, and then you're part of their abuser molester club.
Were you
my family? They're all black SUVs, like the mob almost, or they want to think that they're the government because the government vehicles are all like those black vehicles. They all drive the black vehicles, so they are the government. If you have enough people in a group, that they can get group entitlement to take on the government, and that's even the Jehovah's Witnesses do that through the court systems, because you don't have to listen to the law if you can invoke that it's part of your religious belief.
So you were raised Catholic, is what you're saying, and you think that they're part of it.
My parents got out of there because it was a really bad city, and but I've been so messed up by religion where you have a father who's like everything's the angels with him, but then when he talks to you, everything is the demons with you, and then he just that type of thing where they can use it to get the better end of the bargain, where they always see the light in them. Then they take the rod and cone out of their eye that sees the color or whatever. Then they see you as the darkness. Then they beat you with a rod. So it's a real, and what it does is it just makes you angry. And then you're like, yay, I get to be part of the fun abuse club that I got abused by the Gaudis.
So you're saying that they have ties to the mafia, they abused you, and it turned you off.
Definite association with religious groups
and
our own government.
Have you ever been diagnosed by like a mental health professional or anything?
Can I ask you a question? Why are you asking me that? Except for you're threatened by my ideas, and then you're trying to undermine me because I'm making you think you are insulted, and so you're throwing that medical stuff at me because you have nothing better.
No, I'm actually curious if you've actually ever seen or spoken with like a mental health professional about any of this.
Yeah, I have.
And what did it tell you?
I got diagnosed.
If it's personal, you don't have to tell me if it's personal.
I got diagnosed with what's called a slight personality disorder.
Okay, what did they tell you? I mean, again, you don't have to tell me if.
That was the diagnosis. That's what it is. It's a slight personality disorder, and that was what was written on the form.
Slight personality disorder.
It's a doctor can write whatever they want. It doesn't have to follow some MS-DOS or whatever that was what it was diagnosed. And what it is I just have a chip on my shoulder. I'm 46 years old, and I have a grudge. That's my personality disorder.
Okay, because I understand that those could range from anything like schizoid or anything like so. They're not really. They didn't get too in depth in it. I got you. Interesting. That's all. I just wanted to get it, And again, if I'm asking you something you don't feel comfortable telling me,
So
you don't have
yeah,
to tell me
yeah. So
nothing.
your mom's like a nurse and she makes you take the pills, right? So you had to do that. So now you're trying to do that to me. That's nice.
No,
My
I don't
mom's
want
a
you to
nurse.
take any
She's been
pills.
worked at a hospital for 30 years. My ex-wife has been an employee of the hospital for 20 years. I've gone through so many different educational program. I did psychology, college level psychology in 10th grade. Then I did college psychology. So if you want to keep on talking, you don't seem very educated to me, sir.
Oh, okay.
About
No,
what
I
you're
wasn't
even
trying to.
talking
I wasn't
about.
trying to offend you.
No, I don't. I think it was a personal attack, and what you're doing is trying to etch down my mental health to say that my arguments are not as valid.
No, actually,
So
there's
now I'm
nothing to
etching
do.
you
I was
down
literally
because I'm
curious.
saying what you're doing is you're contemptuous of me by just using that as an attack, because I see that as that's like
No,
what
no.
everybody's
If
doing
you're
these days.
perceiving
Everybody's throwing
any
around
of my
some
questions as a
diagnosis.
personal
You're
attack,
just like
I
the
don't want you
status
to.
quo.
No,
That's
it's
nice.
not. It's
You're
not
the status
nothing
quo,
I
boss.
asked you as a personal attack on
It's
you.
just sheep people. I don't know. You
No,
just
I
sound
don't.
like
I don't
everybody
know
else.
you. Why would I
Know
personally
what you
attack
need
you?
to
I don't
do?
know you.
Have an original by just have something original to say when you talk, and that's good.
I feel like we've got some abrasion going on here, and I don't think it's intentional.
Yeah, it's scouring. Scouring
No.
on that side.
No, trust me. If I wanted to be
You know what it
offensive,
is?
you
It's
would know.
questions.
You would
You're
know it.
interrogating me. Can I ask you a question?
Sure. Doesn't mean I'm going to
Right?
answer it, but sure.
Yeah. I can already tell the type, and I know what I'm not going to even ask you because I'm not even certain I would get an honest answer at this point.
Well, you could try. I mean, you might as well shoot it
No,
out
I
there.
don't want to ask you any questions. I already can sense the vibe, so I already know. I don't have to ask
I'm
a question.
sorry. What's the vibe?
People ask questions as a form of control. That's what it is.
Well,
You're just
I mean,
controlling
if
me
you
through
want
a
to, if you
question.
want to control me, then you can try. I mean, if you want to ask me a question, if you think
I'm not a very questioning person. I make statements.
Okay.
But yeah, the whole getting to know you thing, it's weird. I've argued with everybody here, and I have to say that Melody on the other channel, as soon as I said something that didn't match exactly what she said, that was this. She just goes off and snaps just like that, and then nope. I just didn't agree with her. There was one or two things that was different, and then she just said nope, don't like him. So
where were you talking to
I
her?
gotta say that's bullshit. With what if Melody's around? No way.
Where was that?
At Angela's.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've never been to Angela's yet. I've heard about her, but I've never been there.
No, she's being rude because she has snap judgment. She just makes judgments. You can tell how fast her mind just moves fast. If she doesn't get her way, she doesn't stay on top. Boom, doesn't like you because she wants to be on top. Sorry. So now that I'm at 3%. So the good news is my phone's right about to die. So you won't have to talk to me much longer if you don't.
No,
like me.
I mean, do you feel like people don't want to talk to you? I mean, I had no problem talking to you.
Oh, right on. Yeah. So sometimes things get hot, and I get hot fast, but then I try to cool down fast, and I don't want to leave things like. But Melody just totally shut down right there. She didn't give me any chance for any sort of reconciliation, and it was I was trying to talk. We were just talking about aliens, and I was just trying to say something about rocks or something, and some ruins or ancient. Nope. As far as I'm concerned, she's not worth my time to even talk to if she's going to do that. So whatever. So you get to these certain points where when you get, once you start to know people, well, then you really don't like them anymore. Once you get all the way to Discord and then you're in the back room with them and then you're like,
that's why I kind
okay,
of just
now
get
I
straight
get
to the point,
them. And then you're like, block. And then, so sometimes I think our relationships work out better when we don't know each other. But we like to get close to each other, and then we need to run away.
It can go either way. So
Can be.
sometimes you can learn that you have more in common than you don't, but it also depends on what you focus on. So if you hyper focus on the disagreements you have, yeah, you're gonna hate each other. But you don't have to do that. You can focus on the things that you agree with, Or you can have a civil debate and not really put emotion behind it in the first place and just seek truth.
Yeah, I think the less bothered you are by people's differences, the more you're going to be able to get along with other people who are different than you. Like, I think the problem is when people only want people who are similar to them, like, and
Right.
they're bothered by things that are not similar. Like,
well, the issue with that is you end up in an echo chamber, and then you don't know anything about anything. You have no way to falsify your beliefs. So to me, that's pointless.
Yeah, that's why I like being around a lot of different point of views. I think it gives you a broader sense of things.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I welcome differences and shit like that. Now, doesn't mean I like everything, but
Right.
I
want to be
would
aware
have
of
to say that the way that I think is a lot different than how other people think.
and that's fine. And that's important for people to know that.
I try to get to these primary places that it's kind of this essence of it, where the whole thing was still going on, even with cavemen. And you could see the whole thing go on in family groups. You could see it as a smaller model that goes on within a town or in a classroom. It's group dynamics, how a town relates to another town, how one person relates to another person. I kind of got I got pushed in a certain direction by some teachers, and then that really changed my mind. Oh,
what do you mean by that?
1%. I'm at 1% battery, so I'm just gonna basically say to Melody, I thought you were very unfair to me, and see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.
Do you have a crush on Melody? Oh shit.
I don't know. It's difficult to tell. He may have, and then he's kind of hurt by it.
I don't know, you seem a little preoccupied by that Melody thing.
Maybe, but also sometimes it depends on their personality. Sometimes it doesn't have to be about like a romantic desire. Sometimes
but the more I ask, the more I'm narrowing it down what it is or isn't.
Oh, right. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah. People say,
but I'm sure you've met people too that are just like so concerned about what other people think that it can just be another dude or some random person on the internet, and they just get worked up over.
They just hate when somebody disagrees with them, basically.
Yeah. And I don't know that's the case with him. Honestly, I don't know him that well.
Where did you know this guy from?
I believe he came from chat, like How the Universe Works chat, and then of course we fractured all over the damn place, but. One of those chats.
I don't dislike people like that, but I with people like that, I want to get to the point on a few things initially, like right off the bat. Like,
right, I understand. And in fact, some people are like that with me because I have a tendency to kind of ramble on. And
it depends on. I don't think you're crazy. I think you're long-winded, and I think you do it because you don't want to be misunderstood.
Exactly. But that's it's anxiety. So I hate being misunderstood. So sometimes people straw man you on purpose, but a lot of times that's not the case. They just don't.
Right. You want to make sure you're expressing yourself in a way that cannot be misunderstood. And because I feel like you feel like you've been misunderstood, and it was a thing for you, so you wanted to improve on that.
Absolutely. And so sometimes I go a little too far doing that because of
right. You overcompensate a little bit.
Yep.
I feel like I'm in a similar way. Like, I want to make sure that I'm expressing myself in a very clear way. But I try to be very succinct and not waste any words about what I'm saying.
Right. And that's perfectly cool. I think that both have.
But I like how we both have a different style, but we're both usually. I like. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I feel like there's pros and cons to both. Like it's not just a clear like this is better than this. It's like there are obvious differences, and each have their strengths and weaknesses.
I think there's a time to be succinct, and there's a time to be in depth. And I think it depends on what you're talking about. I think I think it's easy to over-explain something.
That's true.
As well as it's easy to under-explain. But what I try not to under-explain or over-explain things. I try to use the words I want to say exactly what I want to the best that I can. Yeah, that's kind of
Absolutely. So I think I agree. It's the only difference is because of the anxiety, I think, of like not liking to be misunderstood, just hate it so much that I don't do it on purpose. It's like a intuitive
Like a
thing.
subconscious thing,
Yeah,
like an
my
involuntary.
brain does that. So that's why.
It's a psychological thing. Yeah, you're like saying it's like the feeling of being misunderstood is like driving you to make sure that you're being understood.
Yep. And so this is something that I go into a lot. I have no problem with people disagreeing with me. Absolutely none. I have a problem with people not understanding what the fuck I'm saying. Like that's why I love it when you remember I brought up within one of the last few live streams that you steel man me, and then you're like, what does that mean? And I explained it. That is a big deal. Being able to succinctly and properly, accurately describe what another person's point of view is, and you did it today, by the way. That's a big deal. That's great because it makes it to where I'm not stuck in this. Does he even know what I'm saying?
No, half the time it's frustrating because I know the other guys doesn't know what the fuck you're saying, and so I'm like, I just want to get to the point so I can move the conversation along. So it's like,
right, I get
like
it.
just so it's like that's why I feel like I have to steel man the shit because it's like it's somehow being lost in translation. I don't like mansplaining shit for people, but it's like everyone shut the fuck up so that we understand what the points are being made, so that we can actually talk about what we're trying to talk about.
Some of that is I'm like a little too far when it comes to freedom of speech, I think. So I don't want to feel like I'm controlling people. So sometimes because of that, I go far in avoiding any sort of curbing of people's ability to talk. Even when most people would agree that this is the time, like this is the point where you need to fucking just tell them to shut the fuck up. I have a problem with that.
You have to. It's because I don't think you're used to running like crazy panels like that. Most of the time, people are like, I don't know, but from the impression I got, like you're not running like your panels are not super fucking crazy. Like mine are like that all the fucking time. Nobody's ever shutting up, so you got to make them shut up.
Right, that's part of it. So it's kind of a little bit of both. Part of it is just my personality, and part of it is yes, I have less experience with that sort of hardcore people going at each other and just being toxic. That's what I call it anyway.
Yeah, they're being petty. They're like bitching and arguing about shit that doesn't matter, and it takes away from the actual conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's fine sometimes, but yeah, like too much of that. Like I don't know, too much. I didn't want that here. I'm like, dude, this is the place where you don't do that. Like, you want to do that? Yeah, go to my fucking stream.
Yeah, and that's what I try to make clear. I've even Angela freaking made this big drama thing because apparently she thought I was talking about her when I said I don't do Jerry Springer dumpster fire shit, and that's not what I was doing. I'm trying.
Oh, no, you were talking about mine, and yeah.
No, I wasn't even talking about yours. But well, I did today because you acknowledge that that's what you do, right? So I'm not.
Well, that's just what it becomes. You know,
right,
I'm not trying to make it like that. That's just what it is.
I know. With her, I didn't even mention her, and it wasn't even about her. I'm trying to keep people from wasting their time and me from wasting my time by telling them ahead of time when I'm advertising for my stream, which I don't do very often. Like, this is what we do. We have legitimate conversations. We try to have civil debate if there's a debate, and we don't do fucking just screaming at each other shit. But I don't do that, and that's it. And then she's like, I can't believe that motherfucker called me out. And then it became this big thing. Now I've fucking blocked her and all, but.
Wait, who is that?
Angela.
Oh yeah, I've never spoken with her yet.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. You can investigate her, and she has decent content. She
talks about a lot of she's kind of like coast to coast. Like she talks about a lot of fringe shit from what I've gathered.
Yes, and I don't. Personally, it's not even about whether I like her. I don't like things like that. It's not my shit.
You're more into political shit.
Well, right? Political and what I would consider philosophical, logical science. She deals with what I would personally call pseudoscience. Now, you may disagree.
Metaphysics and shit. You're into pragmatic shit. Like she's into like metaphysics. Like.
Basically, yes. That's a good way of wording it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that. But I like both. Honestly, but there's only so much of that other shit I'll entertain. And there's only so much of the pragmaticism that I'll entertain to a degree.
Right. So you're sort of like in the middle of the spectrum a little bit, and you'll kind of go both ways.
I'll entertain a lot of shit, you know, but only to a certain degree. You know, even I have limits, like on certain shit.
Right.
Because there's not everything needs to be entertained. There's some shit that needs to be dismissed, like, because it's fucking stupid.
Well,
you know, but I try to be open minded as possible. You know.
Right. So what I personally believe when it comes to that, and it'll be different depending on who you talk to, but I believe it's possible to be too open-minded.
Right. That's why I say I don't entertain stupid shit or shit that I think is stupid.
Right. Okay. We agree then.
Yeah. What's the point? You know, like I get it. Like.
Yeah.
But I do want to be open-minded and not just say, oh, this is fucking stupid because I don't like it or it makes me uncomfortable or whatever. I have an adverse reaction to it, like therefore it's stupid or no. I try to be honest, you know.
So Melody, I feel like you are thinking that I'm attacking, which I'm not. I'm just explaining why I don't like things like that. So specifically what I mean is like talking about stories about like interpretation of dreams. That is not science. Psychology doesn't even deal in that. It's like
I love shit like that too, though.
Right. So this is the point I'm making. There's nothing wrong with liking that. It's just I don't deal in stuff that can't be concrete or measured in some way. Like
you don't find it interesting?
So it depends. I find dream interpretation interesting if you can root it in something that's objective. Meaning, if it's like vague, like oftentimes when you have dreams about, for example, you're floating away or something, that can be interpreted, and there's some evidence for this. It has to do with fear of lack of control, right? And it makes sense with the dream itself. So I'm not saying that dreams don't have any correlation with psychology at all. What I'm saying is oftentimes people go too damn far with it, and they get into like Jungian psychology to where they use human pattern seeking too much, and then they'll take their subjective shit and run with it and go.
Well, I think the reason why that's happening is because there are certain phenomena that can't be adequately explained yet.
Right.
It's because like why are people having specific symbolism in their dreams and shit to mean specific things? Like why just that thing? Like, you know, like the teeth falling out or the floating or, you know, different ones that they'll have. Like or shit like that. That's the kind of stuff that there's really no really reasonable explanation for. Like that they can't.
And that's so I have no problem with the conversation, but in my experience, what ends up happening is it starts attracting people that are open-minded, to people that are like, honestly, like tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist type people. Like
like they don't focus on the phenomenon itself. They want to just go off into a bunch of bullshit, basically.
Yes, and I can't handle it. Like everybody has their weaknesses. I think I'm pretty patient. But I have a weakness for that sort of tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist shit. I can't handle it. But
I am fascinated by stuff like that can't be adequately explained. But again, that shit does attract a lot of the fucking what you're talking about, though. That is the problem.
So that's the deal. So we can have the discussion as long as it's someone that I feel is capable of having a logical discussion about that topic. So as long as we're not entertaining like insane shit, in my personal opinion, and sometimes we'll have discussions like that and I'll just not get involved because again, for me these streams are not about me. Like I put out my own fucking videos all the fucking time. People know what I think.
You're putting out videos about stuff all the time.
So people know what I think about almost everything. So like I let people talk about what the hell they want to talk about. And I try to stay out as much as possible unless we only have like a couple of people here, like right now.
Well, the truth is, I'm not always watching everything you're putting out. To be honest with you, once in a while I'll watch it, you know, if I have time or whatever. But I'm not seeing everything, so I really don't know your view on everything.
Right. And that does happen, and I understand that, and that's why if people ask me questions, I'll answer them. But some of my audience watches at least most of my videos.
Maybe this Ian guy is watching all your shit.
He is obsessed. He's got T-Rob's derangement syndrome.
He's not. Oh my god, dude! I have like 1 million of those. kind of. Like,
I just think it's funny, honestly. Like,
yeah, you're lucky. You should be lucky you have one. I've got countless. Like,
dude, I would have so much fun with them.
I do. I really do. Like,
it's great.
But
So, anyone wants to pop in for the last little bit? I'm going to be running maybe another 15 minutes tops. That'll be 3 hours total runtime. I try not to go past that.
I might do a short stream tonight. I'm not sure.
These vests, and you're right, I tend to wear this almost always. So I'm what I guess you would call a minimalist to an extent. This is like my uniform. You could call
that a vest. Is that
it's a tank top. It's what other people, someone in the chat called it, you've been wearing that vest for a month or whatever. So I have a shit ton of black tank tops exactly like this. And usually I'll wear this, and very rarely I'll wear a gray one that's identical. And there's only a couple of other things that I even wear. This is just what I like. And for the most part, it's because a lot of people would be like, dude, you like think you're fucking all muscular? Has nothing to do with that. It has to do for me with temperature regulation. I run about 5 to 10 degrees hotter than your average person. I don't know why. So I'm always fucking roasting, especially if I'm working. So I'm just more comfortable in a tank top.
Melody says, is it bulletproof?
It is not bulletproof, although I have not tested that. I have been shot at once, but I was running very quickly and luckily didn't have to find out.
So you're being shot at?
I've been shot at before.
Why?
Back in my younger, well, it's stupid. So I was friends with a dude who happened to be a drug dealer. That was stupid in the first place, but that's what it was. And he gave me some fucking shit, which I was just selling. I've never really liked weed, and that was mainly what it was all about. So what I would do is he was just like, here, dude. And that's what he did. He was like, that was his way of being like, hey, we're friends. And then like he went fucking psychotic all of a sudden, like months later, and was like, dude, you owe me this much. And I'm like, I don't owe you shit, dude. You gave it to me. And we got into a fucking argument, and then there was a bunch of people around, and then other people started taking his side because he's the fucking drug dealer guy, and like that's what they do. They're like those lackey types that just agree with anything they say. So, but anyway, it got into like a big, full-blown fucking massive argument, and then he fucking shot at me, and I ran like a motherfucker. And yeah.
What the fuck? How did he miss?
Well, I luckily I kind of knew where it was going, and I started backing away while arguing. And
you knew he was about to shoot at you.
Well, I didn't know for a fact he was about to shoot at me, but I knew that it was a possibility, and I was not I don't.
Was your danger sense going off?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, you could tell.
It's a dude that I know the dude has a gun, and he keeps it in his. He wears like loose T-shirts, and he has it in the front of his pants. And I knew that he was starting to get fucking crazy, like, you fucking piece of shit, motherfucker. And I'm like, oh fuck. And like I'm arguing, and because I can't help it, I have to stand my ground. But at the same time, I'm not saying everything I want to say, because I know this dude's fucking packing. So I'm walking away, and like, dude, you're crazy, man. You fucking gave me that shit. Don't be a fucking Indian giver. Well, it's not even an Indian giver, because at that point you're not asking for it back. You're literally like, you gave it to them, and then you're asking for money later. But anyway,
never take favors from people like that ever.
I'll never. I don't hang around people like that anymore. But I would never do it again. I can tell you that.
Yeah, the experience could have got your ass shot.
Yeah, and I don't play around with fucking anyone I know has a gun after that, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I do not want to get shot.
You might want to reconsider getting your concealed carry license after that.
Well, I do have a concealed carry license, and I own 2 firearms. Although honestly, in most cases, it doesn't really matter because in most cases where you're in danger due to a firearm, you're not in a position to reach for yours. If someone's pointing a gun at you, you're not going to go, oh, like, unless you're far, far away. Like, if you're in an
It
argument
depends.
and someone,
Yeah, like if you're in an active shooter situation, if it's not like a direct confrontation,
yeah, well,
you
yeah,
know,
that's
like,
true. That's true. And that's why I own a firearm, by the way.
yeah, because when you're in one of those situations, yeah, it really does make the fucking difference. You know, like it can. But
Yeah.
if somebody's point blank just pointing a gun at you, like, yeah, you're not going to get time.
You're a
But
dumbass if you think that you're going to be like John Wayne all of a sudden. But
no, it's not going to be some kind of fucking stand. No. But
yeah.
I think most people feel better having one.
Oh, absolutely. And
knowing
like for me, it's mainly for home defense. If someone breaks through my door, for one, I live in a state where I can shoot through the door if someone's trying to break into my home. Luckily, and but if they manage to break through my door, I know that's a threat, and I have a pretty good chance of taking them out.
So how do they enforce that? Like, does there have to be signs of fucking forced entry?
Yes, they have to investigate. So some people will say here that are a little bit fucked up that like if you ever have to shoot someone, drag them back into your house.
They'll know. I mean, if they have
probably if they have a decent forensics team, they're gonna know. They're
anyone where the shit is gonna know that you drag the body in. But
yeah. Yep.
Because I'm wondering, like, how do they enforce that? Like, do they have to see that there's like actual signs that somebody tried to break in, or can you just say that they threatened you to fucking get in the house?
I don't know for sure. I'm running on assumption. I know that is the law, but I don't know how they enforce it. That's up in the air. I assume you're right, but I don't know.
Because I see a lot of legal gray area in that.
Mm-hmm. There is. Like, I got into shit for pointing a gun at some people because they wouldn't stop playing fucking loud music. And I know that's crazy and I shouldn't have done it. But you got
they were outside or what?
They're in the same neighborhood as me. Yes, they're outside. But this is a constant problem, and it's why it got to that point. Because I had called cops, threatened fucking lawsuits with the fucking place that owns this, the people that own this area, and done all sorts of shit for years. And then all of a sudden it's a weekend and it's like extremely loud, like bass subwoofers blasting to the point where the fucking wall is vibrating. And I like my peace of mind. I feel like in my home, I should be able to like read books and
you didn't call cops for like noise pollution or something?
Well, I did, yes, and they kept dealing with it, and then eventually they fined some of them, and but it kept happening, and the problem was it wouldn't solve it because then they would just move around and go to different people's houses and shit, and so I started like losing my shit, and these motherfuckers kept playing. They did it on a weekend, and it was nighttime, and I went down there and posted local ordinance on their door, and the ordinance was basically just explaining how you can't play loud music. That's it. Now, a lot of people have this belief that it's within a certain time frame, which is not true where I live.
I think it's a certain amount of decibels. I think it doesn't matter what time.
It depends on where you live, but here there is no decibels. It's vague. It's like if it disrupts people, if people don't want it, then they deal with it, right? So I basically posted all of the details, the long ordinance on it on their door. And the dude got up in my face and he's like, "What then, motherfucker?" He's like one of these wannabe gangster types. And I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing, man? I'm just posting fucking ordinance on your door." But then he kept getting up on me and I didn't expect this, right? So this has caught me off guard.
They make you do it yourself? Like, why the fuck doesn't the sheriff do it?
They should, but then the police kept getting pissed off because they feel like this is stupid shit. They shouldn't have to deal with.
They didn't want to do their fucking job.
Yeah, they didn't want to do their job. So I'm like, well, I want this dealt with. I don't give a fuck what has to happen. I'll fucking put myself off the line if I have to. So I did, and then this happens, and I wasn't thinking clearly because I didn't expect that to happen. All I'm doing is posting fucking papers, right?
He went wild on you.
It caught me off guard. He went wild and kept getting up in my face, and I backed away and pulled a gun on him. I shouldn't have done it, but I did. And so then three of them were coming toward me, two on the sides of him, and he was face on. And I kept the gun on him, and honestly, I was about to shoot his ass. I was very close. If he had gotten within, like, say, 6 feet of me, I probably would have shot him.
Wait, was he coming closer or back?
He was coming closer, but staying within, like, I would say 15 feet or so, right? He was staying within that range. And he kept talking shit and being like, pussy motherfucking piece of shit bag.
While you're pointing the gun at him?
While I'm pointing the gun. He was drunk. And that's a problem. When people are drunk, they don't give a fuck. And I'm like, dude, I'm about to kill your ass.
Dude, you were about to shoot a drunk. That's what was about to happen.
Yes. These things are very tricky and they're gray, as you said, when it comes to the law, because three of them pressing on me and not allowing me to back away peacefully, which is what I was trying to do. I was just trying to protect myself, really. Because there were three of them, I've been told that there's a high likelihood I would have gotten off even if I had shot all three of them. So then I have other people who said because they're unarmed, I would have been prosecuted and would have lost, and it would have been manslaughter.
No.
I don't know.
No, because what if they beat your ass and then fucking took your gun and shot you? You don't know.
Exactly. It's tricky. It's fucking complicated. So I really don't know what would have happened. Luckily, I didn't shoot the guy. I called the police. The police warned both of us and told him, like, keep the fucking music down. Told me, like, dude, next time don't bring a gun with you. And I'm like, if I didn't bring a gun with you, the three motherfuckers would fucking goddamn, like, tag up on me over fucking music. Like, so I don't know.
Nah, they weren't looking out for you, man. The whole system is so fucked. Like, you would have probably got in trouble for that. And then
Probably.
Basically, yeah, the only way you could have bent the law in your favor was to pay for a really good lawyer. Like, pretty much. Like, that's how it works. Because they make the shit so ambiguous that, like, it could go either way depending on how much money you want to spend on a lawyer. Like,
Yep. It's all about, criminality and, like, whether you're innocent or not is not dependent on facts. It's about how much money you have, which is
it's about can you afford a really good lawyer, basically.
Yeah. Pretty much. It's fucked.
Yeah, it fucks if you can't afford a lawyer, then it's why the rich get away with so much shit.
Yep.
Because they can afford good lawyers.
Even lawyers admit it, that it's
dude, I mean, everybody knows that's how it is. Like,
yeah.
That's why poor people get fucked and rich people get away with all kinds of shit. Like,
actually, I've had opposite claims, so it depends on your point of view. So some people would say that is pussy because I brought a gun. To me, that's just logic. Like, I'm surrounded by, and by the way, I'm not a racist person.
You say black people.
But no, I'm surrounded by Hispanics. So it's not that I have a problem with Hispanics. It's these specific types are like ghetto gangster.
The cholo, you're talking about the cholos.
Yes, exactly. And so there are tons of them, and there's like maybe 6 or 7 white people in this area, and there's hundreds of people here, right? So I'm not moving because I refuse to, because I'm in the right here, in my opinion. And I feel like I need to make my neighborhood a better fucking neighborhood. And the cops won't do it, so I'll fucking do it. But I'm not stupid either. I'm not going to go out and be like, hey, man, you want to fight? That would be retarded.
First of all, they basically fucking strong-armed you into putting the ordinance yourself. And then you almost got fucked up for it. Yep. How did you get out of that?
Luckily, the cop didn't want to deal with it, so he was lazy.
No, I'm not talking about legally. Like, how did you get out of the yard? Like if you said 3 of them were coming up on you and behind you, right? Like,
well, not behind me. So one was, like I said, about 15 feet away and keeping that distance. The other 2 were flanking him. They were all at about the same distance, but they started moving forward as if they wanted to try to flank me. And if that happened, I guarantee you I would have shot their ass. I'm not.
Well, you would have had to. You would have had to, because at that point, they're ready to. At that point, they're ready to shoot you.
Yes. Well, they didn't have a gun.
Well, they would have beat your ass and taken your gun.
Exactly. And that's my point.
Yeah, they're about to fuck you up. Like,
yeah, and so like they're like, so you don't need to bring a gun. I'm like, oh, I'm going to tell you now. Like, if this happens in the future, and by the way, through legal action, I've made it to where it's a lot less of a problem now. They don't play shit that loud anymore, not as frequently. So, but I told the police like point blank, if you don't want me to carry a gun to protect myself, you get the fuck out here when I call you and you deal with it. If not, it's on you.
like, plus, you don't know if they have a gun. Nah, like you have a right.
That's true as well. That's true as well.
How are they gonna tell you, dude? Everything they're telling you is so fucking backwards. Like
they're saying it because they're. Well, for one, I live in Asheville, North Carolina. North Carolina is a red state, but Asheville is like a big city, a blue area in the red state. So what he's trying to say, basically, you're going to lose because they're anti-gun here, and they're going to try to bury you. And it is true that the prosecution will, even if I'm protecting myself, they will do everything they can to make it appear as if I just wanted to go out there and I was looking for trouble and wanted to kill a bunch of Hispanic people, especially because I'm a white dude that has a bald head. They're going to try to paint me.
They're going to profile you like a skinhead to try to shoot some fucking
that's exactly what they're going to do. So I was kind of in a shit position to start with. But at the same time, I'm not letting people fucking disrupt my fucking peace all the damn time. Not just my peace, but there's a bunch of old people around here that fucking like other Hispanic old people that like want to read their Bible. There's kids that want to fucking do their homework. Like,
there's people who don't want to listen to your fucking music, basically.
Yes, you shouldn't have this feeling that you're entitled to force an entire neighborhood to hear your shit, because you're not.
That's crazy. They made you put that on the wall, and then told you not to bring a gun. That's fucking wild.
Yep. Well, I think they just wanted me to not be like in their hair anymore. They just wanted me to go like, well, just fucking deal with it. It's just music.
Yeah, the police wanted you to just shut up, basically.
Yep, that's exactly what they wanted. And
they're like, if we can get them to go over there and do that, then we don't care if they beat his ass or not. Like, we just don't want to deal with it.
Yep. They just didn't want to. They wanted to cover their ass, and they wanted to tell me like, hey, you're making a pain in the ass for us because we have to come out here and deal with this. So all they focused on was you pointed a gun at someone. Now, it is true they could have charged me for that. They could have charged me for just pointing the gun is a crime. But I don't know if it would have been in this particular case. It's very up in the air.
You could, I mean, come on, like self-defense, right? You could have said the guy was trying to come at you. Like,
so he was coming at me for sure. So the argument would be, and this is how it's drawn up in the law, you have to meet force with equal force. Because the dude didn't have a weapon that I could tell, they would say that it's going too far. You can't pull a gun on somebody for that. So my argument would be there were three of them. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not like one guy. You talking about three dudes? Yeah, they could definitely. And what happens if they beat your ass and then they find the gun on you? Like,
that's true, but to be fair, I guess I have to explain the entire thing. So it's not like all three of them were rushing me, right? One was being extremely aggressive and rushing me and trying to get me to fight him. The two were just there as sort of like I feel like they were backup, but only if necessary. So they weren't up on me. Only the one guy was, but the two were flanking and like kind of following as if like we're with you, dude.
Pretty much. Like, yeah, if you were gonna fight that guy and like say you started winning, like the other two would have got you. Like,
that's what I believe. I can't prove that.
I mean, that's a fair assumption to make when you're dealing.
Yeah,
with
I think so too. And when you're in like a situation like that, all this shit happens instantly, and you're making like a call in your head. What do I do? And I would probably do the same thing again, to be honest. Like,
well, yeah, say they rush you, they take your gun, and they just fucking like, you never know.
Yeah,
you never
yeah. So, well, they said, well, you avoid the whole situation by not bringing a gun, and I'm like, I'm not fucking stupid, man.
Well, what if that fucker had a gun?
Exactly, exactly. It's why it's more complicated than people try to make it out. And like, I defend it personally.
No, that's why a sheriff should have fucking went over there and put the ordinance on there. They made you already do all the work by like typing out the fucking ordinance.
Yep.
They should fucking give it to them. Kind of like,
even if they didn't, I live in a trailer park, so the owners of the park or the property manager that works for them should have been doing that. I ended up having to do it.
I mean, the sheriff, that's how they do it. Like, say you're filing a restraining order on somebody, you can either have somebody else serve them, or you could fucking have the sheriff do it. You know, it should be a very similar thing if you're trying to file like a fucking noise complaint ordinance or some shit like that. Like,
So
why would they make why would they make you do it? That's fucking.
Well, they didn't, quote, make me do it. I decided to do it, but it's because this was an ongoing thing. And when I try to get them to deal with it, they don't. All they do is go, they're like, well, there's only so much we can do, and we have to warn them several times before we can issue citations and actually, you know, charge them fines or something, which to me is the only way it's going to stop. You're not going to go tell someone, knock on their door and go, sir, we got a call for disturbing the peace. We would like you to turn the music down. They don't give a fuck. If they're not being affected, they don't care. So I'm like, you guys are going to have to fucking do something. And they never wanted to deal with it. I don't know. Maybe there's more to it than I'm aware. Like maybe the cops are told they can't give citations or something. And if so, that's on them. But my point is, you're going to solve this problem one way or another, because I'm not going to stop fucking making a big deal out of it, because it is a big deal.
It sounds like they just didn't give a shit.
They don't.
And like you said, there was probably the whole it was good. And the thing is, yeah, there's racism on both ends, and people don't want to believe that. But yeah, if you're a minority race in any given fucking population, you're still that fucking minority race. So like in your case, it sounds like you were surrounded by mostly Hispanic population. You're the fucking minority there. So
and I have no problem with most. They're actually very good people. They'll fucking give you the shirt off their back.
Right.
Except it only takes a couple of bad eggs to make a problem. And then there's the cholo types, as you described. And those people need to fucking go. So
right, and that's the thing, and people are lumping them all together, and that's fucking wrong. That's the problem. That goes back to the original point.
Exactly, but it happens both ways. So I get lumped in. I bring an actual legitimate problem, and I get lumped. Oh, it's a fucking white nationalist. I'm not a white nationalist.
Yeah, he's a skinhead. He's a fucking he's a racist. Yeah.
So it makes, all it does on both sides is it makes it extremely difficult to deal with actual issues, because we're talking past one another and like exaggerating shit.
Everything's sensationalized and weaponized and it's like tailored to avoid the actual fucking problems. Like,
yeah. Well, guys, I believe it is that time. Got to get some shit done. It was interesting as always. We did have some shit show there for a little bit, but it tamed down. It was good having you on.
It was good, man. Appreciate you having me.
Not a problem. I'll be back next week. See you guys then if you're available.